Well, the last 24 hours has been an interesting experiment in controlling the narrative. You might have seen a lot of people trying to find a silver lining in the massive Xbox restructuring. They're looking at the memo dropped by Xbox CEO Asha Sharma and saying, hey, look, at least they didn't completely close down studios this time. I need you to stop that line of thinking right now, because what Microsoft is actually doing behind the scenes is far more insidious. Xbox is playing a semantic shell game with the industry. They realize that outright shutting down a beloved studio creates a PR bloodbath that they can't control, so they pivoted to a new strategy: the Ghost Studio. They are leaving the name on the door, they are keeping the logo on the website, but they are quietly ripping out the actual human machinery, the engineers, the veteran talent, and the heart of these studios until there's nothing left but an empty corporate husk. A game studio is not an intellectual property registry in a Microsoft Cloud database. It is a studio. It is people. Those are the ones being handled here. They're the ones being laid off, and they're the ones who write the code. And if they're not there, the studio is dead. Period. Now, if you like this kind of content, make sure and hit like and subscribe. That way you don't miss out on the content. And to really get a picture of this, we need to look at the cold hard facts of this July 2026 Xbox reset, because the internal memos read like a corporate confession. Asha Sharma explicitly stated to staff that the Xbox business is, quote, not healthy. She revealed that Xbox is currently operating at profit margins that are 3 to 10 times lower than their competitors. That is staggering, right? Think about that. After spending over $100 billion on acquisitions, Microsoft is admitting that in a typical year, they lose 64 cents for every dollar that they invest in their studios. Immediately following the bombshell, Bethesda President Jill Braff sent out an internal email. She told staff that they were going to have to shift away from the model of letting independent studios plan their own futures, and instead they would have to shift entirely to a franchise-first model. They're focusing purely on their biggest and safest properties: Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein. Keep that Doom one in your mind there, because there's a huge contradiction here. How do you claim you are laser focused on supporting your strongest, most legendary franchises, while your very next move is to go into the studios behind those franchises and fire the literal architects who build the games? And yes, I'm talking about id Software. We are not talking about a minor corporate trimming here. Michael Maynard, senior gameplay systems programmer at id, he indicated on LinkedIn that roughly 50% of the entire id Software team has been laid off. Multiple industry insiders are reporting that most, if not all, of id Software's core coding and engineering teams are gone. One source claimed that one of the laid-off developers remarked that, quote, nobody's left at id who knows how to use id tech. Think about the technical reality of why this is so catastrophic. id Software is not just a development house that makes Doom games. They are the gatekeepers and the creators of id Tech, arguably the most highly optimized proprietary engine in the entire first-person shooter genre. When you fire the core tools team and the engine programmers, you're not just slowing down the production of Doom, the next title, you are killing the engine itself. The terrifying writing on the wall here is that Microsoft appears to want to phase out proprietary engines entirely. Seemingly, they want to shift to Unreal Engine templates so they can cut immediate costs, downgrade legendary industry-leading tech pioneers, and then turn them into a glorified, hollowed-out support studio. And not to worry, id Software, their DLC lands today as well, by the way, they're not the only ones being hollowed out. Kotaku has confirmed that Obsidian just lost roughly 25% of its entire staff to this Xbox reset. I also really want to just do a bit of a sidebar here. I love that Xbox and Microsoft branded laying off thousands of people the Xbox reset, so all their defense force and all their astroturfers can go out there and run marketing and PR for laying off thousands of people. It's truly remarkable the cult-like following this brand has achieved when they can brand the actual laying off of thousands of people. Just call it the Xbox reset and everybody will smile and go along with it. What's happening at Obsidian is roughly 60 to 70 developers across programming, design, art, and narrative, including 21-year veterans like the art director Daniel Alpert, who has been there since Neverwinter Nights 2. The irony here is staggering. Obsidian did exactly what Microsoft built the Game Pass model for. Over the last 5 years, they delivered on a content cadence. Grounded, Pentiment, The Outer Worlds 2, Avowed, Grounded 2. They built the exact mix of creative and diverse titles meant to keep people subscribed month after month. If the studio that perfectly fulfilled the original Game Pass assignment, getting games out at cadence, if they're getting hacked to pieces while actively trying to finish things or work on things, this is the ultimate proof that the assignment has officially changed. The Game Pass dream that Phil Spencer sold to the world for years is dead, and corporate is sending people packing because the model failed. Which brings us to the biggest and the most alarming question of this entire disaster. Asha Sharma is calling this the most significant restructure in Xbox history. She calls it a necessary reset. But my question is very simple. A reset to where? What actually will be left of the Xbox ecosystem when the dust settles on 3,200 layoffs? What are you going to go back and do? Go back and read the global memo carefully. Notice what isn't there. Asha Sharma offered absolutely zero assurances or long-term guarantees about the future of dedicated Xbox hardware. There was zero forward-looking roadmap for the stability of Game Pass. Instead, we got a public confession that their massive multi-platform push and subscription bets did not grow at the pace that they expected, and their core platform has actively weakened. This isn't a strategic reset designed to build a launch pad into the next generation. This is a structural retreat. By flattening 14 layers of management down to 3, cutting vendor spending by half, giving up on unique studios like Double Fine, and gutting technical powerhouses like id Software, they are transitioning. They aren't trying to win or return to the console space. They are preparing to become a massive, homogenized, third-party software publisher that just happens to be wearing the skin of a platform holder. But that's just what I think about this situation and where it's headed. What do you think? If Microsoft keeps the iconic id Software or Obsidian names on the building, but they fire the veteran engineers who write the code and define the identity of the games and the studios, do those studios actually even still exist? Or are we just looking at a ghost studio or a ghost platform? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below, or make sure you're here for the live chats, because let me know what you think of this Asha Sharma era, because we need to talk about what happens next. And that's it. That's the show open, boys. It's bad. It's bleak. It's dark. I told you that this was not going to be as simple as let's throw confetti in the air because some of the studios didn't get closed down. It's no, this is all a ruse. This is a freaking ruse. They are clearly gutting studios. 3,200 layoffs is almost assuredly going to lead to what amounts to dead studios. If you're getting rid of whatever it was, half of id Software, basically all of the people that were building the games or could build the games or could interact with the technology, who's left? What's left at the end of the day? That's why I'm arguing, you're not shutting the studios down, but you're certainly killing them. So what difference does it make? That's my problem with it. All of the id tech experts, just gone. John Linneman was so frustrated about this when he got confirmation about it. He was I don't even want to talk about this right now, because he loves id Software. Many of us love id Software. It's are you kidding me? What are you doing? Of all of the studios to gut, and here's the grand irony of what they're claiming. They want to circle the wagons on their IPs and their big games, and it's who's going to build it? Who's going to build it? The body is alive, but the soul is gone. That's what I'm saying. I have some people to thank. Let's get the goal up on the board. Haseo, Han shot first, and so did you. Thank you so much for coming in. And then Davis renews their membership and gets us to 104. Thank you very much. And guys, get us to the first 100 likes. We are kind of competing with the big game today. So, there's a big game going on right now. Rest in peace, US. I told you that we wouldn't go very far, boys. But we'll probably get some people trickling in here in about an hour and a half when that game is over. And Wired Rope is going to kick the day off with a 10 bomb on Twitch to get us to 114. That's a big one. Thank you, Mr. Rope. And a single comes in from Metallica. It's a VIP renewal, 49 months, is a lot of months. Wired Rope says it's the last day for 35% off. It's the last day for 35% off gifting over there on Twitch. So if you guys want to land the plane and hit big goals, today is a good day to give us a big head start on the week with that discount. Even after this with id, 1,600 more devs will lose their jobs over the course of the quarter, but it wasn't that bad according to Xbox fans. I'm telling you, I told you guys yesterday, I can read Xbox's playbook, I can see the dog whistles, everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to do. I promise you, my video last night, Xbox tricked us. This is the reality. They intentionally leaked those 4 studios, and they wanted everybody freaking out that those studios were getting closed. Why? So she could make a significant portion of her announcement about how they're not getting closed. They're going independent and getting sold off. So you give everybody their silver lining fog and smoke and mirrors to distract from the fact that they're laying so many people off. They're also playing an interesting game with the public to try to confuse everybody. It's 1,600 people at Xbox, and then another 1,600 at Xbox will be laid off, totaling 3,200. Then there's 1,600 people at Microsoft. Do you wonder why they're doing the exact same total every time? So that all anybody remembers in a couple of years when we look back, or what they're hoping people remember in the next 12 months is, it was 1,600. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that it's 4,800 if you include all of the Microsoft and Xbox layoffs that will happen over the course of this fiscal period. They're breaking into groups of 16. Every single batch is 1,600 because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to cloud the waters and confuse everybody. They want people thinking, oh, it was 1,600, wasn't it? It was just 1,600. No, it was 1,600 now, another 1,600 coming, and 1,600 at Microsoft. It's 3 different groups of 1,600. It's by design to confuse people. It literally is. It's by design. They want people to be confused. Oh, man, 1,600 is not too bad. I heard it was going to be, record-breaking. Yeah, it is. It's higher than it was in the past. Like in the past, the big chunk they did was like 2,500. This is a larger group. This is 3,200. And they're literally doing this to confuse. And they did the thing with the studios. They knew they weren't going to close them down. They got everybody spooked they were going to be closed down. They leaked that on purpose. I think it was all by design. It's the same reason Senua wasn't an exclusive. They knew. Yeah. Do you remember when Matt Ball was asked the question about, like, why is Senua not an exclusive, but Clockwork is, and he said no comment? I'm telling you, the reason he said no comment was because they knew deep down that game was going to end up being multi-plat and that studio was going to go to somebody else. They already knew. That plan was already in motion. So they intentionally leak that the studio might get closed down. We all freak out. We're like, that's so scummy. You're going to close the studio down after showing off their game. And then they get to come out looking like heroes. Oh, no. They're not getting closed down. We've worked out a deal. They're going to get sold to somebody else. Senua's going to live on. State of Decay 3 is going to live on. They're playing. I'm telling you, they are the masters of the Kansas City Shuffle. They get everybody to look left while they're going right. It's by design. The other thing that's interesting to me is that the more they say something's not happening, the more I think it's happening. The more they say that something's not happening, the more I think it's happening. So their insistence right now that studios aren't being closed and that projects aren't being canceled, yeah, I'm just assuring that that's probably happening. Studios are getting closed down. In all but name, these studios have been shut down. When you get rid of half of id Software and you get rid of all the people that actually do the coding in the building, id Software is no more. They didn't close it, but id Software is no more. They're done. That's it. That's the end of the studio. Unless they do something to bring them all back, it's over. Gone. The id Tech, now if they're not at the studio, they don't have access to the id Tech. They can't do anything with it. John Always with 58 months in a VIP. Let me add you to the total. We hope it's multiplayer. May never see the light of day. Trailer did well there, though. Oh, we hope it's multi-plat. May never see the light of day. Trailer did well, though. I mean, I would assume anybody buying Ninja Theory would say, hey, we want you to continue building that game because it's what you're known for. And Melina Juergens is powerful. I actually am hoping that Ninja Theory ended up at Sony. I don't think Sony has a whole lot of money to spend right now. They're doing their own trimming, and what they're doing to Bungie is necessary because of how poorly Bungie was run all those years. But I don't know. I don't know who's buying these studios. We don't know who got Undead Labs and State of Decay 3. Tons of people, tons of analysts are saying the same thing I'm saying about the studios going independent. What's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Let's get some gifteds going. See if we can't get Feed a member on YouTube. And guys, get us those first 100 likes. We're sitting at 95. Let's go. Come on. I know Lionel's playing, but we got to do a show. We should have just tried to rearrange my schedule so I could go live this morning, but I couldn't. I'm kind of glad I didn't because all this stuff broke with id Software and Obsidian this morning. You know, it's like the fact of the matter is we probably wouldn't have had all this info. I wouldn't have been able to go this morning and without other than what we already kind of sort of knew. And then Xbox was funding all existing projects and letting them keep their IP. We don't have any of the details there. If they're continuing to fund State of Decay 3 and Senua, I don't have any concrete info from Microsoft about that. Asha didn't say that. If she said it, I somehow missed it. I see people saying that. I don't know where you're getting that information. Who's reporting that or claiming that? And a single gifted comes in from Joker Quinn. If they're going to continue to fund Senua and State of Decay 3, I think it's interesting that we're seeing State of Decay 3 won't be on Game Pass. Yeah, other good news this morning. The only good news coming out of this is that the IPs are safe. What did I tell you guys yesterday? The companies getting away from Xbox are in the best situation. Now the guys going independent are still at risk. Like it's a bad time to go independent. The industry is very volatile. But like they're the safest ones because they're getting to keep their IPs and take another crack at it. id Software is completely gutted. They're completely gutted. I told you guys. The studios left behind, they're the biggest concern because it's like, well, what's going to happen to us? And this is just the first round. There's another round coming. Yeah, I saw IO Interactive got back their rights to Project Fantasy. That was the game that they were that was being published by Xbox. So the only good thing coming out of this is some of the studios, a very small handful, 5 studios, right now have procured their rights to the games back from Xbox. Asha talked about funding runways in her statement. That's very generic. We don't know what that means. I agree that Ninja Theory would be a nice addition to PlayStation. However, right now Sony prefers to shoot themselves in the head. I don't feel like talking about that. I'm tired of entertaining the notion that people are achieving anything on Twitter. I mean, it's adorable that they think that they are achieving something, but in 6 months, it's just going to be more water under the bridge. No one's achieving anything. It's all performative nothing. It's just vapor. It's vapor. Microsoft knows that they can't make great new games anyway, so what's the point of hoarding up? Well, that's my frustration. Why not take a crack at that? Why not take a crack at shoring up talent, working on games? You know, get id working on the next Doom. Get Ninja Theory working on Senua. Get these studios working on games. What they should have done to save all this money they're trying to save is they should have completely restructured Game Pass. That's what I think they should have done. They should have been like, I tell you what, the only way, she should have come out and leveled with people and been like, the only way these studios survive is if we get back to the basics of making great games and selling them. That's what she should have come out and said. And been like, we're going to give Senua a shot. We're going to give the next Doom a shot. Because, like, Doom Eternal sold like 3 million copies its first week. Doom the Dark Ages barely sold 1 million copies. And it's like, I don't know what happened. But whether it was Game Pass or Just maybe the vibe of the Dark Ages game just didn't land with the Doom fan base. I just don't know. But Doom the Dark Ages did not do well, which I found surprising, like comparatively to Doom Eternal. Now, that's probably one of the primary reasons that they're under the gun. This is why, and listen, I said the same thing about Sony closing Bluepoint. I'm going to say the same thing here. I think this is short-sighted. I think what you're doing is short-sighted. Just because Doom the Dark Ages didn't knock it down commercially doesn't mean you essentially shut the studio down and kill it. Getting rid of half of the staff, basically all the coders and engineers, you might as well have just killed the studio. They're killing studios without shutting them down is what they're doing. And I think that's incredibly short-sighted. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Doom DLC. You can't find it anywhere. It's probably because half the studio's gone. There's nobody there to push the button. They have a DLC that allegedly is the size of a sequel, and the day before it comes out, Xbox lays off half the studio. I'm telling you, they don't have a North Star. They don't have a North Star. They don't. It's out now. I couldn't find it earlier. People were reporting they couldn't find it on Steam. Maybe it got published at noon. I couldn't find it. Whenever I would go to the store to find it, it literally wasn't there. You could upgrade to the Ultimate Edition to get it, but the actual DLC, it was not there. I can't. Hang on a second. I got to go back to just one display because then I can't anchor my frames. Why does this happen? I don't understand why this happens. I can't anchor the Windows frame over there. Why won't it let me do it? I do not understand why this happens in Windows. I like to, when you drag something over to the side and it takes up half the frame on Windows, it just stops working all of a sudden. I absolutely hate Windows so stinking much. Nothing ever works right. It is so stinking irritating. I drag the window over and it's supposed to fill, and now I got it to work. There we go. Jiminy Christmas. It's such garbage. The most basic features never stinking work right. Right click the two squares. Right click the two squares where? I don't have two squares. I don't even remember what I was getting ready to do. Oh, I was getting ready to look for it. Oh, you can buy it now. It's $20 on Steam. Okay, I couldn't find it earlier, and I was like, what the frick's even going to happen with this DLC today? Okay. It's for sure out on the Xbox app. I went and found it listed on Xbox, but I couldn't buy it on Xbox. Windows key left or right arrow will move it. Okay, hang on a second. Let me try that. No, what do you... No, that didn't do it. We'll move the currently focused window to the left or the right half of the screen. Yeah, that's not working. That's weird. It's now working when I drag it over. Now it's working. I don't know what the heck's going on. The dragon sections in Dark Ages were like shovelware. There were sections of Dark Ages that I didn't like, and then there were sections that I really liked. I will never claim that Doom the Dark Ages is some immaculate game. It has its flaws. I think it's the weakest of the three. Okay? I think it's the weakest of the three. But what I'm talking about again, and this is what's going to get really tiring, okay? The Xbox fanatics on Twitter who are constantly making this about Sony or saying that these studios sucked, the only thing that sucks is those fans. They suck. They're the worst. They deserve everything Xbox is turning into. The fanatics. I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about the fanatics who act like this is no big deal and these studios suck. I want you to walk out on Main Street and tell everybody that id Software sucks. Do it. Say it with your full chest so everybody can see that you're nothing but a brand loyalist fraud. You are a fraud if you're going to walk out into the public and be like, it's fine that half the people at id got laid off because they suck. My question for the Xbox fanatics are, who's worth a damn? Who? Every studio's trash, apparently. Every studio that gets cut, downsized, shrunk, practically killed, or shuttered, or sold, or spun off independent, apparently they all suck and everything they do sucks. You guys spend years defending these games and these studios, and you talk about eating good on Game Pass, and then when they get shoved out the door, shuttered, or put on a death sentence, you're like, they sucked anyway. Who's worth it over there? Tell us now, just in case they get shuttered, so then we can receipt pull you. You bunch of frauds. Bunch of fanatic cult member frauds. You don't care about games. You don't care about playing games. All you care about is cheering for Xbox. That's all you care about. As long as you can do that, well, then your heart's still bleeding green. Like, what are you going to do? If studios like Obsidian and id Software get basically put into a category of a corpse, what are you going to say then? Did they suck too? Are they also trash? If Gears of War E-Day doesn't sell enough copies, is that what you're going to say? It didn't sell enough. Coalition sucks. You going to say that about Fable? If Fable doesn't do commercially well and they significantly downsize Playground, you going to say that about them? Apparently, not only is nobody safe from Asha Sharma's machete, nobody's safe with respect to loyalty. The brand fanatics, you're loyal to nothing but an idea, a mirage. You're not loyal to the studios. You're not loyal to the games. You're loyal to this mirage of whatever you think Xbox is. Worse Than Amazing Trilogy is still good to me. I thoroughly enjoy Dark Ages more than Eternal. I liked Dark Ages quite a bit. It started to feel more like Doom, more like classic Doom, until the very final boss fight. I wasn't a fan of the final boss fight. It was just a parry fest. And I'm saying this is the guy that loves parries. I was like, that didn't really feel like Doom to me. You know? And I'm looking forward to the DLC. It looks very cool. What's good, Erica? I fully expect that. They will say Gears is dead and it sucked. They will never touch the multiplayer and they'll be fine without. It's unbelievable to me. It's unbelievable to me how quickly the fanatics get in line in AstroTurf and do Defense Force for this brand. I don't even know what you're loyal to anymore. I don't. What's left to be loyal to? What? A fading image? It's like what is left to even be loyal to? If you can gut half of id Software are the literal industry goats. Like, the games you play today, the games you enjoy today, if you're playing a game and it's a first-person shooter, you better pay some respect to those guys. We're not talking about some brand new studio who took a crack at something and it didn't work out. We're talking about a studio that's been here since the birth of first-person shooters. id Software is, and this is where I know we're talking to people that are frauds and they're not real fans of gaming. They just like to fight. They just like to get on here and make it personal and spew insults. They're just children. Like, it's like you're just acting like a child. Like, you don't even see what this means. For the sake of the industry, you don't even understand, like, the historical impact of id Software being gutted. You don't even get it. Because you're not a real one and never were. These guys out here want to pull gamer cred and they want to call me a tourist. And it's like, I was playing the games that id made when you were probably still in pull-ups. Like, literally at the birth of the first-person shooter with Wolf 3D. and then Doom, and then Quake. These guys are the actual literal GOATs. Like, and to shrug that off, I want to see people shrug that off and say that they sucked. Because that's what they're doing with every other studio. Any studio shuttered, walked out the door, spun off, divested, or in this case, virtually killed. Well, they just, everybody, all the fanatics do is shrug and say that they sucked anyway. Well, who's going to be left? What are you even loyal to? What studios matter to you? Some of this is overhired due to demand during COVID. Unfortunate, but the industry was saturated during that time. Thanks for saying nothing. Show up and say nothing. That has nothing to do with id Software. Roughly 200 people a studio didn't overhire. They got cut in half. People that have been at the studio for 20 years got laid off. That has nothing to do with overhiring. Engage in the conversation or take the day off. I'm sick of the platitudinous, vapid statements from people that are like, oh, it's just unfortunate, it's just overhired. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. We're talking about id Software. People that have been in the company for decades getting sent packing. That has nothing to do with overhiring during COVID. Quit it. It's embarrassing that people are even trying to do that. I'm working chill, bro. Don't tell me to chill. Don't come in and do empty platitudes right now. I'm not in the mood for it. And a 10 bomb comes in from Hidden Siryu and gets us to 127. If that's all you have to offer to the conversation, you should just take the day off. I don't want to hear from you. I don't. Thank you for 4 months, Smooth Papa on Twitch. And 35 months from Dan. Totally get and respect your take. With Game Pass, I got to try Dark Ages and fell in love with that game. It really helped me try different games. I would love for Game Pass to be more about trials. I would love that. I said that. I said that in the past. I was like, if most people are using Game Pass to try games, listen how everybody talks about Game Pass. They always talk about how they get to try games. And I'm like, that's great. Do that. Foster that. I did that during the Xbox 360 era. My wife and I used the Xbox Arcade. We tried a bunch of games, and then we ended up buying them. It's like, yo, what's good, gang? It's good to see you. It's like, that's what blows my mind. It's like, it doesn't matter who they lay off, who they shutter, what studio gets affected. The fanatics are just like, yeah, this is fine. This was a long time coming. Asha's our queen. This will usher in a new era. You have no idea what's coming. There won't be anything left. If they are willing to gut half of id Software, then I don't know what you're clinging to. I don't know what you're clinging to. Why so mad, bro? I'm 45. I've been gaming since the original video games were created and made accessible to consumers, and I'm watching veteran studios with massive amounts of pedigree and institutional knowledge shuttered by one of the worst gaming companies in the history of gaming. It's irritating. This is literally a hobby that I was there when it was born, and I'm watching one of the grandfathers of the industry get shuttered. Why? Because Xbox sucks. They're terrible at this. Then I've been screaming that for years. I'm like, they're so bad at this. You don't want them buying more studios. They're garbage. They're trash. They're corporate raiders. They're not creative. They don't understand gaming. And now we have to watch all these studios shuttered, and we have to watch bleed green chuckleheads and fanatics talk about how, well, at least these 4 studios didn't get closed. Shut the frick up. Shut up. Nobody wants to hear from you. We're watching industry veterans, established pillars of the gaming industry gutted. Gutted because Xbox is bad. And everybody cheered this on. After they bought Activision Blizzard, some of you empty-skulled morons wanted them to buy more. Good gracious, it's a good thing they didn't do that. Because all you're going to do is sing their praises when they buy the studio, parade those studios and games around, so that you can brag about Game Pass, and then when they shutter the studio, you'll say that the studio sucked because the game didn't sell any copies, as you bragged about not buying games for the past 6 years. It's gross. One of the dumbest fan bases I've ever seen. Full chest. Just stupid. Cheer for acquisitions, cheer for the devaluation of games, celebrate not buying games, and then you have the gall and the nerve to turn around and say those studios sucked because their games didn't sell. Gee, I wonder why they didn't sell. You bragged about not buying the games for the last 6 years, and now you use that as an indictment for the studios being shut down. Remarkable. Remarkable. The fanatics that refuse to hold this company accountable and be critical and own the fact that this was a total botched strategy, you guys deserve everything Xbox is turning into. This is it. This is your brand. Because the games were bad? Yeah. Doom the Dark Ages, according to you, was bad. Hi-Fi Rush, according to you, was bad. Avowed was bad. Outer Worlds 2 was bad. Grounded 2 was bad. Yeah. Yeah, South of Midnight was bad. If that was the case, why in the frick were you loyal to them all these years if everything they were churning out was bad? It's like you guys suddenly woke up and realized this all of a sudden? You guys just suddenly decided they were bad? I didn't hear any of this. I didn't hear any of this the last 6 years. I didn't hear anybody saying that all these games were bad. I didn't hear this. I saw people celebrating Avowed. I remember being critical of Avowed. I got nothing but hate from that side. The Bleed Green side acted like Avowed was amazing. Outer Worlds 2 was amazing. South of Midnight, Grounded 2. Doom the Dark Ages, Hi-Fi Rush. All these games that apparently sucked because all the studios that were either spun off, divested, sold, or getting absolutely murdered like id Software, you guys all just shrug and say, yeah, well, the game sucked. What have you even been loyal to then? What have you been loyal to? Yeah, Lone Wolf is a real one. Lone Wolf's probably actually mad about this stuff because he actually liked those games. It's crazy to me. That's why I said a lot of you are frauds. You celebrated these games, postured as if they were amazing, and then when the studios get shuttered, shut down, gutted, sold off, whatever, you're like, well, the game sucked anyway. And it's like, well, then what have you been loyal to all this time if all the games were so bad? I don't understand. I really liked Avowed, Atomfall, and Doom. Avowed was bad. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that these games were amazing. I'm not. Here's part of my frustration as well with that. Let's just look at Avowed and the Outer Worlds 2. You know what their problems actually seemed to be? The problem with Avowed and the problem with the Outer Worlds 2, I feel like they needed more time. I feel like they needed more time. I feel like they had good ideas and they had good systems and they came out too early. I think even Lone Wolf would probably agree with me. I think he liked both of those games and I think he would be like, yeah, you're right. They probably each needed 6 months to a year more. They came out too early. And who's to blame for that? That again, it's like you have a studio that's got good ideas and good pedigree and good games and their games came out too soon. Whose fault is that? That's Xbox. Xbox wanted cadence. Remember when I said they want cadence over quality? That's not a good idea. It's okay to like bad games. I loved Anthem. There, I said it. Anthem was like a really, really nice car with no gas in it. I mean, there were so many things there that could have worked. It just, there was nothing to do. I remember Gene Park being critical of Avowed. I'm not going to say that Avowed and the Outer Worlds 2 were flawless. What I'm saying is I'm pointing out how these people are frauds. They are frauds. They spent the last 6 years celebrating Game Pass, celebrating not buying games, propping up games that they really didn't like, apparently, and then when the studios get shuttered or shut down, spun off, sold, or shrunk through just massive layoffs, they're like, well, their games sucked anyway and nobody bought them. And it's like, what? You bragged about not buying them, and now you're using the fact that the games didn't sell well as an indictment of the studio? You're literally in the equation, genius. Yeah, man, you guys over there, we play, you pay, ha 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 ha. And then when the studio gets closed down, they're like, nobody bought the games. Yeah, that's you. You're the one. You're in the equation. You're the man. You are the man. You didn't buy the games. That's what's crazy to me. It's like, okay, so the Xbox loyal, you guys that are going to spin this into a positive, Rissick with a single gets it to 20 away from 150. What? Did you hate the games all this time then? Then what were you loyal to? What were you loyal to? If you didn't like South of Midnight, if you didn't like Avowed, if you didn't like The Outer Worlds 2, if you didn't like Grounded or Grounded 2, and another single comes in from Rissick, if you didn't like Doom the Dark Ages, if you didn't like South of Midnight, if you didn't like Psychonauts 2 or Kiln or Keeper, if you didn't like these games, then what in the world have you been loyal to? All the stuff that you guys celebrated, all the things that you hailed as great, now it all sucks and it's bad, and you're like, yeah, the studios suck and their games suck, and who cares if they get shut down? The only one I'm pissed about is Undead Labs. I don't know how, like, true, actual, OG, real one gamers, I don't know how you can't be furious about id Software. I question I actually, rarely do I question gamer cred. I question your gamer cred if you don't care about id Software. I do. I almost never do the gamer cred thing. But if you shrug at id Software getting gutted, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like you're a gamer. I feel like you LARP as a gamer. I feel like you're a LARPer. You're wearing the clothes. You're wearing the tour, like the band shirt. You don't know a single song. You didn't even go to the show. You bought the shirt at Goodwill. You didn't even go to the show. You don't even know the songs. If you don't care about id Software, I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you're dressing up as a gamer. Thank you, Trey Gaming, for $2. Parasocial Microsoft content creators are pathetic. Jack Garland says, I don't understand people who say I don't care about blank. Do people not realize that other people play different games than you? Because they don't make the things I'm a fan of. Doom 2016 was the best, and the last 3 Dooms, and it isn't even close. Okay, but see, here's the problem with what you're doing, Jakob. You're literally acting like, because I don't care about the games, they don't matter. Imagine if I did that. Imagine if Playground got shut down and I was like, yeah, I don't like racing games. Who the frick cares? Like, that would be ridiculous. I'd be like, they're amazing. What are you doing? They made Forza Horizon 5 and Forza 6 and you're closing them down? They're one of the most respected studios in that genre in the world. Like, I would be like, are you crazy? And I don't play their games. That's what I mean. Like, I don't feel like we're the same. It's ironic over the years that I've been called a tourist and a grifter, and I care more about the Xbox studios and the property than the alleged Xbox fans do. Who's the fraud and the tourist now? Who's the fraud and the tourist now? I care more about the studios over there than all these alleged Xbox fans do. Hey, you don't care about id Software? You don't care about Ninja Theory or Double Fine? You don't care about Undead Labs or Compulsion? You don't care about Obsidian? Like, are you even a fan? Like, what are you a fan of? I'm more of a fan of the studios than you are. Who's the fraud and the tourist now? The veil's coming all the way off. All the people that had a go at me and you're all sniveling in the replies on my tweets now, you're all exposed. You know what I mean? I don't have a little button on my stream deck to go exposed, right? But you're all exposed. You're not fans. You're not. You're the tourists. You're the frauds and the grifters. You don't care about these studios. You don't care about these games. And you never did. It was all an act. It was all for fun and for show. And then when the bottom falls out, and I'm sitting here going, this freaking sucks. What? Ninja Theory? Huh? It's software? Oh my gosh. What are they going to say? Oh, you're just hating on Xbox. No, I actually care about the games and the studios. It seemingly more than you do. You want to know who hates Xbox? These fake fans hate Xbox. They don't care if Xbox is successful or not. They don't care if the games or the studios do well or not. They don't care about that at all. They've been LARPing as fans for the last 6 years. WGC with a $5 super chat. I liked the idea presented back then. It didn't work out, but I enjoyed seeing teams given freedom and often bought their games regardless of Game Pass. Right. So I would consider you to be a real fan. If you're actually upset by this and you're like, this sucks, these were cool studios. Maybe I didn't like their games, but the studios brought a creative diversity to the portfolio. What are y'all going to be left with? A couple of shooters? And World of Warcraft? And Candy Crush? Like, what are you going to be left with, boys? What are you going to be left with? There's no substance. There's no texture. There's no creativity left. There's no Psychonauts. There's no Hellblades. There's no South of Midnights. And apparently there's no Doom. What are you going to be left with? What are you going to play? Call of Duty and Minecraft and Candy Crush. Congratulations. You're going to play nothing but, like, what are you guys, like, gaming front runners? You only care about the most popular games? You don't care about anything else? You guys would make great executives. You only care about the big titles. Goodbye Twitch says, remember that E3 where Phil was like, here are all the studios we're acquiring and have acquired, and everyone was like, this is going to be amazing, and now this. Oh, I love all the tweets, and I love all the receipt pulls on people that were like, I see no reason to think consolidation of this scope is going to cause any problems. Aging like milk. While I appreciate your care, someone's got to do it, but I'm selfish in general and in and out of gaming. I really only care about me and what I want, although I can understand the people who cares viewpoint. Yeah, but Solemn, I don't even know what games you care about then. If you don't care about all of the studios affected, every studio is going to be affected by this. Bethesda, ZeniMax, Coalition will likely be affected by this. id Software has been cut in half. What the frick do you even play, bro? What do you even play? You just play Call of Duty? You don't think this is going to affect Call of Duty? They have like 11 studios that work on Call of Duty. I don't understand why caring about devs and studios matter. Do you influence anything that happens at these studios? Are you on the board? No, I'm a consumer. You apparently are not. You apparently don't care about the studios and the games that they create. Like if tomorrow PlayStation came out and said they were shuttering Sucker Punch, I would be fuming mad. I'd be like, what are you doing? Well, yeah, we're going to shut down Insomniac. We're going to cut Insomniac in half and turn them into a support studio. I'd be furious. Why? They create great stuff. They create games that I like. I don't understand. Some of you gamers don't make any sense to me. I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're a bot. I don't know if you even play games anymore. I don't know if you've taken up crocheting as a hobby and you're just like, yeah, it's fine if, like, companies that have basically laid the groundwork for the most institutional games that we play, first-person shooters, it's okay if they get completely gutted and cut in half, and veterans with 20-something years of institutional knowledge and experience, it's okay if they all walk away and we don't get any more games from id Software because, I play Clash of Clans. Like, what the heck do you even play? What do you care about? That's my question. What do you care about? What do you play? I don't get who you people are anymore. I don't. I feel like you're just here to goad and to, like, gaslight. Like, you don't actually play games. You're just like, yeah, it's fine. id Software. All those studios that you just mentioned, yeah, they all sucked and their games sucked. I don't care. What the heck do you care about then? What have you been playing? Zubair says, why are you here talking about gaming if you don't care about gaming? Yeah, I'm baffled. People are just taking the veil all the way off, basically saying the quiet part out loud, that you don't care about gaming. It's crazy to me. I buy COD every year, but I hardly play the last 3 to 4 CODs. I still play Destiny 2. I play a good mix of all types of games. Yeah, you definitely walked out a good mix of all types of games there. What? Call of Duty and Destiny? I don't understand how it's mind-blowing to me that, like, you guys can watch Xbox basically transition into a shell of itself. Like studios, games, IP. You can just watch it all burn, and you're like, it doesn't really matter to me. It's like you live across the street from some guy's house that just burned to the ground, and you're like, that doesn't have any effect on me. And meanwhile, it's lowering the property value of the neighborhood. And you're like, yeah, it doesn't affect me. My house is still standing. It's like, this is going to have a dramatic effect on the value of all of the things that you triumphed, all of the things that you championed. Day and date on Game Pass, the Game Pass library, the cadence of games, all of those things that you guys championed are in tatters. When this is all said and done, what's going to be left? Can you imagine PlayStation firing half of Housemarque and people arguing that they're fine? I would be incensed if any of the studios I liked were cut in half. And that's why I'm angry about id Software. I'm like, I don't know how you guys can take this so quietly and so passively. It doesn't make sense to me. Where are the pitchforks? Where's the anger? I listened to Lono rant about fake gamers and just silently being a lurker fake gamer. I don't care if there are people that lurk and listen and don't really get into gaming like they used to. I had people that did that with Destiny. That's totally fine. I'm talking about people that are vocalizing utter apathy about this. It's like, or a shrugged shoulder, or they're indicting every studio that's getting gutted. It's like, so they all sucked and are bad? What have you been loyal to then? What have you been playing? What's Xbox been doing to get your loyalty if everything they've been churning out is bad? Let me simplify this, says Zubair. If all the beavers in National Park die, I worry about the health of the national park. Studios equal the beavers, National Park equals the gaming industry. That's right. Greg says some of it is also just you see a lot of the modern generation young people, they simply don't care because they aren't interested in playing stuff of what the past did for them. See the transition to live service and the lack of memory of these anyway. They're just happy to keep moving forward. I mean, I guess gaming is very transactional now. I think you meant to say transient there, Greg. Gaming is very transient. I played many other games that I've put down over the past couple of years. At this point, I am befuddled. I don't know what anybody would be loyal to. If you're going to say right now, on January the 7th of 2026, those games sucked, those studios sucked, yeah, their games were no good, what have you been loyal to for the last 6 years? The games getting the studios getting spun off, or shuttered, or shrunk, or going independent, they were the primary cause of first-party cadence on Game Pass for the last 6 years. Compulsion, Double Fine, Ninja Theory. Undead Labs, no. Arcane Leon, no. We don't know what's happening to them. And then Obsidian and id Software. These studios are the ones that were giving you a cadence of first-party games on Game Pass. I was told that's what mattered, and now everybody's just shrugging at these studios? It's like, what are you... Huh? What are you loyal to then? Apparently all this time, the stuff you've been getting was actually bad? A $10 super chat from James. It's a problem that fans... is it a problem that fans are excited Xbox is changing? Corporations will close, studios, layoffs will happen. All the corpos do it. You call some gamers stupid for believing in Xbox, bro. Stop being a Karen. You know what my favorite thing I saw people saying yesterday? And your super chat really encapsulates this beautifully. People that were like, I'm just glad Xbox is being honest. You deserve everything Xbox is becoming. You really do. If you bought what she said as a sign of hope, and if you think she's being honest, Enjoy what you get. You deserve it. You do. You deserve a gutted id Software. You deserve shut down, spun off, divested studios. You deserve it. You deserve everything Xbox is becoming because you won't hold them accountable. You won't call out the BS. You will just guzzle down every double speak corpo nonsense thing that they say. They're being honest. They haven't been honest this entire gen. She's literally admitting that the Emperor has no clothes because they're standing in the public naked. The jig is up. The jig is up. Minch Tree with 58 months and a VIP. Sorry about that, Minch. Isn't this the pattern for Xbox? Once your games come to market, take the studio to the threshing floor. If I was working for the Coalition or Playground, I would be nervous. That's exactly right. Why do you think there's 1,600 layoffs that haven't happened yet? There are people actively working on games right now, and Xbox is like, that's excellent work, thank you. Yep. Is the game released? It is? Okay, here, you're fired. There's a reason that there's 1,600 layoffs that haven't happened yet. Because those people are shipping games. They're shipping Gears of War E-Day. They're shipping Fable. There's a reason that they're not laid off yet. Because Xbox needs them to complete their work. Like, yeah, Clockwork Revolution. Yep. Yeah. I don't think people are understanding what's happening here. Like, the entire brand is being restructured into something else. I don't know what some of you guys are clinging to. I really don't. Playground staff should just run to Maverick and join their old management team. Do you want to know what I would do? If I was working on Fable or Gears of War or any of these games right now that are allegedly coming to the market, you know, they're coming, but you know what I'd be doing? I'd be getting ready to quit. That's probably what they want people to do, because if they quit, then a lot of times you can't get a lot of the severance and stuff. That's probably what they hope people do, is that they quit on their own, they just leave. So they bought all these profitable companies that make good games, and now that they're not profitable anymore, the common variable is Microsoft. That's exactly right, AOZ. If this is part of the Kansas City shuffle, I'm terrified to see what they want us to look away from. I'm telling you, listen, you have always got to look at it this way. I have basically become, I feel like I've become an Xbox decoder ring, like a living, breathing decoder ring. Whatever Xbox and Microsoft is insisting is not happening, it's happening. The fact that she comes out and she wants you to think that studios aren't being closed and that projects aren't being canceled, that's happening. And she just doesn't want you to know it. They're going to set these studios up to basically be dead, hollow shells of themselves. So they can go out there and say, we didn't shut down studios. What do you mean? We didn't shutter studios. Everybody was scared we were going to be closing studios, and we didn't do that. Make good games people buy, keep your job, seems like the plan they have. Yeah, and that's the problem, is that wasn't the plan. You're turning around and saying nobody bought the games. Well, that's part of the problem, isn't it? Part of the problem is you had an entire fan base running around celebrating the fact that they don't buy games. And then that same fan base wants to turn around and be like, sorry, nobody bought your game. That you suck and you're getting closed down. What do you, huh? How do you not hear the delusional psychosis there? It's like, listen to how insane you sound. In one breath, you don't buy games. And then in the next breath, you're like, well, nobody bought your game, so you deserve to be closed down. It's absolute delusion. It's cult-like behavior. You just follow whoever the new leader is. The king is dead, long live the queen. It's boom, boom, boom. This is who we're loyal to now. You're not loyal to the games. You're not loyal to the studios. You don't give a frig about any of that. All you care about is who's the new cult leader that we're supposed to follow. It's weird. The whole thing's weird. It drives me crazy. The fact that I had to sit here and get put into tweets and content from these sniveling, lack of integrity, just bad actors in the space, and they didn't care what was happening because they just wanted to turn it into a piece of entertainment. A bunch of LARPing tourists. And it's like, those of us that were upset about this or against this, many of us were coming from the space of being an Xbox fan. Being called a tourist and a grifter by people who got this so woefully wrong and will now just shrug and be like, yeah, well, you know, the games sucked and who cares if the studios go away? You're going to have to say that about virtually every studio. They're all dead man walking. Like, what they did to id Software, I don't think people fully grapple with what that means. In the most real sense, it means that nobody is safe. If they are willing to let that level of talent, an institutional pillar in the history of gaming, if they are willing to do that, nobody's safe, bro. Nobody. Not the Coalition, not Playground, nobody. id Software is such a worrying development, and I don't think people have fully grappled with it. That they weren't even that big of a studio. They weren't. This is like when I was frustrated with PlayStation shutting down Blue Point. I was like, they weren't that big. Letting them go was short-sighted. I don't think that was a good idea. I think that was stupid. Do you think the industry as a whole is overemployed and that the layoffs are a correction from COVID-era growth? No, I think that is a convenient excuse that people will use. Anybody claiming this is because of like COVID-era growth? No. That person is doing the most superficial analysis ever. You didn't cut id Software in half because of COVID-era growth. You're not having somebody who's been at id for 21 years walk out the door because of COVID. You're not even doing analysis of the situation. Anybody saying that's selling something. They're trying to spin this. I mean it. I wouldn't go to any of the spin doctors for coverage on this. They're absolutely going to mislead you. They're absolutely going to twist this up and misrepresent it. You're going to get a bunch of bad info in your headcanon. They're going to make you see this through some false lens. This is bad. This is significant. I'm telling you, id Software is this giant flashing light of like, this is about to be horrible. If they're willing to do that to id Software, a studio of about 200 people, what do you think's going to happen to everybody else? $10 from Silent Magician. I hate U.S. corporate culture. I will always respect Nintendo for reducing leadership pay to keep up from having layoff developers. I wish U.S. corporations would do the same. A lot of the reasons that happens at Nintendo is because of Japanese labor laws. That's not going to happen in America. It's not. The people you elect are bought and paid for. It's just another arm of corporate America is all it is. You're never going to get that level of labor laws in the United States. It won't happen. It won't. Much of what we praise Nintendo for is literally because of the law, which, I mean, I guess we can still give them credit for it, but they're not like doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it because they literally have to. The coving overhiring was already corrected. Yeah, most of the tech sector and the entertainment sector has already adjusted from COVID. That's already happened. That's already happened. This is not COVID. The go woke, go broke crowd are happy this is happening to Western developers. Yeah, because they're stupid and ignorant. That's why they're happy. They don't understand what's happening. They have the most superficial understanding of everything in the gaming world. They think everything comes down to if the characters are hot, it'll make tons of money. And meanwhile, just mountains of games fail every day that are full of half-naked waifus from the Eastern developer, churning houses, and they don't make any money and they fail, and they'll never talk about that. They never will. Meanwhile, they'll watch a company like id Software, who is literally like the definition of like bro games for bro gamers, and they're going to act like they went woke. Like, that's idiotic. Just absolute empty-headed analysis if they think that that's literally what caused this or what brought this about. You're listening to people who don't have a clue what's going on. Like, some of these guys couldn't get a GED if they were required to right now. They don't have any intelligence. They don't have any business acumen. They have no clue what's going on. And if they're going to try to run with some narrative that Xbox went woke and went broke, they're literally admitting that they're ignorant and stupid and have no idea what they're talking about. That's not what happened here. This was a gigantic spending machine, and the bill came due. That's all this is. That's all this is. Games weren't selling enough copies because they were literally set up to not sell enough copies. They were put into a machine that literally murdered sales. According to Xbox's own reporting, Game Pass cannibalized sales. So you can't turn around and be like, well, the games didn't sell because they went woke. Like, what the frick? No. That's not true you're going to say that about Doom the Dark Ages? Huh? You're going to say that about the Outer Worlds 2? You're going to say about these games? Like, I didn't see anything or hear anything about that. They just didn't do very well. Number one, some of them came out way too early and they were rushed, as was the case, I think, with Avowed and Doom the Dark Ages. I'm sorry, Avowed and Outer Worlds 2. Doom the Dark Ages completely changed what Doom was about, and I do think they turned off some of the Doom fan base. But Doom was just more rip and tear. You know what I mean? Silent Magician, thank you so much for your membership renewal. And then Assume Parasite says Discord, kind sir. Oh, wow, I've been Discord muted this whole time. Assume Parasite and Silent Magician, let me add those to the total. Boom, boom. Why are we as gamers being attacked for choosing Game Pass over sales? Isn't that what these companies want? How is this Xbox gamers' fault? I don't get it. I didn't say it's your fault. I said that's Xbox's fault. I take issue with people celebrating the fact that they don't buy games and then turning around and being like, well, who cares if these studios get closed down? Nobody bought their games. If that's your line of reasoning, that's the most illogical, delusional thing I've ever seen. There's nothing wrong with you using Game Pass, but you can't spend 6 years celebrating the fact that you don't buy games and then shrug at studios being closed because nobody bought the games. That's idiotic. That's insanity to me. It's insane. It's insane to be like, oh yeah, dude, you pay, we play. Ha ha ha. We don't buy games. And then the studios get closed down or sold off or divested or they go independent and you're like, yeah, who cares? Their games didn't sell any copies. And it's like, you're in the equation of the games not selling copies. You're literally there. You're a causality here. This is bad. Yes, nothing can be done. So what are we talking about? I mean, we're talking about breaking gaming news. That's what we do here. If you don't like it, get out. I don't have any tolerance for people like you anymore. Why are we talking about this? It's what the show is about. It's about breaking gaming news. We don't shrug at gaming news. We're like, well, we can't do anything about it, so let's just not talk about it. If you don't like the topic, leave. Woke dialogue and design choices aren't always the main reason for a game's failure, but they certainly make a game worse. It's not something that completely doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with what happened to Xbox. Anybody saying that this is happening to Xbox because they went woke is an ignoramus. They are ignorant. They don't know what they're talking about. That is not what led to this moment. This is a financial course correction of enormous magnitude. This has nothing to do with that. The people saying that are doing what they always do. What's the latest topic? This? How do I make this about woke? That's all they're doing. Their content equation is that. That's it. That's their content equation. What's the most popular thing right now? Make this about woke. That's all they're doing. Anybody with even the most like minute understanding of what's going on knows that's not what brought this about. This was an overspending division, unprecedented acquisition, a business model that got insanely top heavy, and now they're having to course correct. They bought more games and studios in history than anybody, and they put them on a service where nobody had to buy the games, and everybody's trying to noodle out and scratch their noggin to figure out what happened. It's so painfully obvious. We've been explaining this for years. This business strategy was terrible. It was going to run into trouble. And people kept saying, Microsoft's got that money. They got that Microsoft money. And it's like, yes. And if you've ever met people with lots of money, you'll realize they really like their money to make them money. They're not just going to keep spending. I think people use the woke argument as a temperature check for what a good game is. What's happening to Xbox right now isn't about that at all. Yeah, it was a terrible business strategy that toppled over, is all this is. Egyptian Magician says it's totally true. Since Game Pass, I haven't bought a thing on Xbox, and big third-party stuff is never on it. So why buy it through Microsoft? Xbox had like 14 layers of management. It's ridiculous. Yes, it was top heavy. Oh, it was institutionally top heavy as well. That's a very good point. The fact that they had that many layers of decision making is absolutely absurd. Imagine trying to get anything approved. I mean, what a joke. It's insane how bloated they became. Now, you could say some of that's because of the COVID overhiring. I don't think so. I think that's a symptom of Microsoft. Microsoft is a very big corporate machine, and that's what they do. They throw all their corporate level people and executives at everything, and they think, yeah, that'll keep us safe, and it just ends up slowing everything down. They spent over $70 billion. They're out of patient spending unless it's AI. As a poke, don't remember id being woke. Doom was often cited as very an anti-woke game. What happened? They don't care about... There's something you guys have to realize about content right now. There's content and there's videos created every day by men and women who care nothing about truth and integrity. It doesn't matter to them. All they care about is money. That's all they care about. And they know the right words, the right phrasing, and the right thumbnail gives them money. It's that simple. They do not care about integrity. They do not care about being honest or having ethics or having consistent morals. It doesn't matter to them. It doesn't. As long as they use the right words and as long as they say the right things, their videos will get lots of views. That's the problem. Is like you're attempting to apply like logic and facts and reasoning your way to a conclusion, and you're trying to use that when they're playing by a completely different rule book. They're like logic and reason, integrity and truth. No, bro, that's not what I'm doing over here. That's not what I'm doing. I'm chasing that money, dude. What do you mean? I'm chasing that money. You'll catch them admitting this in the right instances. They'll admit it on podcasts. They'll admit it in candid moments. This has nothing to do with truth to them. So you don't care about money? Money is a secondary priority for me. My primary priority is creating content that I feel comes from a place of excellence, value, truth. I have never run with a single thing that I knew was false or misrepresentative. I never have done that. People have tried to contort my content and clips and sections of my videos to create this idea that like I lie and I contort things. And the only reason they do that is because I constantly point out how they do that, and they don't like it. They don't like people seeing their slip. They don't like people seeing the fact that like there's no veil anymore. It's just an act. It's just a grift. So I've never once covered something being like, I'm going to completely fabricate a narrative. I'm going to ham fist all this stuff so that I can make some money. I've never done that. Not a single time. If I get something wrong, I correct it. If we get a fact or a piece of information wrong, I go out there and say, hey, we thought this was this. It actually turned out to be this. Lately, stuff gets corrected so quickly, we haven't really had to do that. That's happened recently. There was the one with the report that came out that Obsidian was going to be closed down. Schreier comes out and says, no, they're not going to be closed down. And everybody got mad at Chris Dring. But then guys from BGC and other sources came out and said, oh, no, Obsidian was 100% on the chopping block. And I think it was Jeff Grubb that clarified this. Within 24 hours, the decision was walked back. So things are getting corrected at a breakneck speed lately. You have to understand something. Forfeiting your soul and your morals and your integrity for money is not a new thing. It's not. It isn't. It's not a new idea. It's not a new concept. YouTube and content creation isn't the first time that people have decided they were willing to do that. If I would have had the ability to put my conscience and my beliefs to the side, I could have gone full bore into the anti-woke content funnel. It would have been such a quick way to success and money and growth. I was canceled by a bunch of false accusations from women in 2020. Buddy, that runway's wide open for me to just go full bore into it. But I would have had to set aside my beliefs, my conscience, and I would have had to say things that I knew weren't true. I'd have had to become a figment, a fake, a phony, a mirage. I wasn't willing to do that. When that stuff comes up, people are shocked that I'm not on that team. I'm like, no, I'm against that stuff. I think a lot of that hyper progressive stuff and all that hyper liberal stuff, I don't agree with it at all. My worldview is like 1,000 times against that, like at every point. But I'm not on that team that like thinks every single time a game comes out and the woman looks like Aloy that it's some kind of an agenda or something. Like, and listen, I actually don't grow very quickly as a creator because I won't do that. I won't go to a side here. I won't. I take swings at PlayStation, and every time I do it, I lose subs. I take swings at Xbox. Every time I do it, I lose subs. When I go off on like the anti-woke guys and the anti-woke grifters, I lose subs. I put up my video the other day saying I think we're fighting the wrong fight, fighting for discs. I think we should be fighting for digital ownership. I lost subs. I'm not telling people what they want to hear most of the time. I am too see-through to play a game. The people that want to paint me as like a grifter or a liar, you cannot sit here and put on a show like I do. If it's an act, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm too see-through. I'm too transparent. You can tell what I think. You can tell when I'm annoyed. You can tell when I'm irritated. I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd have to take acting classes and develop a literal persona. And even then you'd be able to tell. You'd be like, I don't know who this is in the chair, but this is some other guy showing up now. I'm seeing that Doom is doomed because they rented their game on Game Pass, which caused the studio to not make money. Who's reporting that? I'm telling you, one of the most common themes in this dialogue is going to consistently be that the games didn't sell enough, and the fanatics are going to be like, yeah, that's fine, who cares, right? The fanatics are going to shrug that off because they're going to be like, yeah, they didn't sell enough copies. But it's like, whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? There's still a lot of time, Bumble Pants. There's still a lot of time. Just you wait. Are there official reports coming out that what happened to id Software is because of Doom sales? Like, is there an article? Is there an interview? Is somebody breaking that story somewhere? Death by 1,000 Cuts, day one on Game Pass, lack of bad, I don't know what that is, inorganic inclusion, lack of established IP power, continued broken promises. I don't think that that's the case. I don't think any DEI or any of that is why this happened. What the anti-woke guys are going to do is they're going to grab hold of games where they've got like their token screenshots. All they need a screenshot of is a woman that's a minority or a character that's not conventionally attractive, and they'll convince their audiences that this is why this is happening to Xbox, because critical thinking is dead. Critical thinking is dead. This guy says, speaking of integrity, there needs to be outrage across the board, not just at Sony, but people making excuses for Xbox, Nintendo, and Steam, yet they're all going digital one way or another. One of the reasons I've said that we should be fighting a fight for digital ownership is because that's where we're headed. It happened with music. It's happened with movies and TV shows, right? Significant portions of people's digital entertainment libraries now, significant portions of people's entertainment libraries are digital. Like, and that needs to be protected. Like, that's a completely different fight that we should be fighting. Like, I think gamers need to realize that what you should be fighting for is not the ability to go buy a physical disc. Because whether or not they end the production of the discs in 2028 or 2038, it doesn't matter. It's coming. That era is coming to an end. It doesn't matter when it happens. What matters is you don't actually own any of your digital purchases. There's an ocean of indie games and AA games that we all want to support and we all want to buy, and they're digital only. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about that? That game is protected by some TOS EULA that you agreed to. You don't actually own it. So the entire edifice that we've been trying to prop up and celebrate, AA studios and indie games, the lion's share of those games are digital only. I have a ton of little cool indie games that I have purchased. I had no option to buy them physical. That needs to be protected as much as the big titles. You're fighting the wrong fight. Eventually, people are going to realize that. They're going to realize that so many games are available digital only, and you're not properly protected as a consumer. You're fighting the wrong thing. People are wailing on PlayStation on Twitter, and you are wasting your time. You're achieving nothing. You're just abusing the community note system so you all can celebrate nothing. Nothing will come of that. Nothing. 18-month contract, multi-level management, Game Pass mentality, inhibiting purchases, resetting strategies over and over is what got Xbox here. Yeah, the situation with Xbox is so much bigger than a lot of the superficial analysis you're going to get from people is It's a go woke, go broke situation. Western developers suck now. It's going to be a bunch of that. Or it's going to be, oh, they overhired, layoffs happened, the games weren't any good anyway, the studios weren't even good anyway, like, oh, okay. It's now a developer with like 50-ish employees. They can't survive with such a small team. That's why the title of my stream today is Xbox is killing studios without shuttering them. They're killing these studios. They just don't want the headlines to be that the studios are being closed. That's why I'm not letting them off the hook. I hope more outlets, more YouTubers, more members of the press point this out and say, you're not shutting the studios down, but you might as well be. What difference does it make? If id Software's gutted to the point that they're basically a support studio, you might as well have closed them down. They don't exist anymore. They exist in name only. It would be like me maintaining this channel and Creature getting a screenshot of the room and setting up a live stream every day of just the room, and I'm not in the chair. It wouldn't matter. Who cares? Well, the channel's still live. It still goes live every day. I don't know what everybody's so upset about. Reforge Gaming goes live every day, and funny enough, he actually starts on time now. Yeah. There's nobody in the chair. Who cares? Like, what difference does it make? It's like, there's nothing left. It's a PR game. And the thing you really shouldn't do is do not let the AstroTurfing Defense Force win this time. They got away with it during ABK. Do not let them get away with it this time. Put it in their feeds. Put it in their chats. Make them answer. What about id Software? What about these studios? They're not even there anymore. Did they stink too? Did they suck too? Did they overhire too? Do not let the Defense Force, do not let the AstroTurfing win this time. They need to lose that fight. They convinced thousands upon thousands of people that the ABK deal was going to be great. Why is this idiot always shouting? Because people like you have a hard time listening. Apparently, the Xbox fan base and the fanatics are hard of hearing, so I have to raise my voice. Also, some of the people here are a little older, so I raise my voice for their well-being. Starts on time and he's funnier than he used to be. Less annoying, too. Actually, it's the best it's ever been. Zubair. Huh? Come again, young man? All you oldies in here. Wait, why are you whispering? Did he just call us old? I mean, maybe. I mean, what did he say? Huh? What's he say? Bunch of idiots. I appreciate you speaking up so I can hear you clearly in my old age. Colt Eastwood claims that Game Pass is profitable, refuting the CEO of Xbox. Listen, he can claim anything he wants to claim. I mean, that's his choice. That's his content. I don't think there's a single piece of evidence out there available right now to even attempt to argue that anymore. If Game Pass is profitable, then they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. It would be making them tons of money. If Game Pass is profitable, then if it's profitable, you wouldn't see what's about to happen because Game Pass is going to get restructured. If Game Pass was profitable, they wouldn't have had to raise the price of Ultimate twice. They wouldn't have had to take Call of Duty off of it. If Game Pass was profitable, none of those things would be happening. All evidence available to the public right now refutes that notion. That idea is in tatters. And there's no way to maintain that position anymore. It's absurd. It's absolutely an absurd position at this point. It's like it's so clear that the reason they're doing all these changes, you can't say it's profitable and then turn around and be like, well, the studios are getting closed down because their games didn't sell well. Well, Game Pass being profitable should make up for that. Should it not? Should it not? This guy says, still crashing out on Xbox, not shutting down studios and getting rid of Game Pass like you claimed. I never claimed they would get rid of Game Pass. I said they would get rid of day and date. I also have argued this morning that they basically are killing studios without shutting them down. id Software is functionally dead. So what's it matter that they didn't shut them down? Like, you have a very strange way of looking at the world if that's your victory. That's your victory. With your 1-year-old account, you're probably in here on an alt. You've been banned on other accounts. But I'll give you 60 seconds of my time because folks like you provide us with endless entertainment with your absolute empty positions that aren't backed by anything. If your comfort right now is that studios weren't closed down, I think you're pathetic. I think you're pathetic. Like if you're celebrating, you're like, well, no studios got closed down. 3,000 people will be laid off. id Software is lost half their people. According to a guy that was there for 21 years, it's basically everybody that can code and build games. They're all gone. They're all gone. And you're like, yeah, id Software has more devs than they created Doom 2016. Yeah. I'm going to go with my original assessment. If that's your comfort, and you're like, they didn't close down studios, and you're celebrating this, I think you're pathetic. I do. I mean that at a personal level. I think you're a pathetic individual. I do. I don't think any self-respecting gamer or person would be like, this is great, and we can celebrate because they didn't close down any studios. I think you're pathetic. Don't worry, we saw your message before you retracted it. P-Dub H-Town with a Member Plus renewal, thank you. There you go. 60 seconds of entertainment. Thanks for stopping by. That's all you're good for, by the way. Probably in real life, too. I didn't know my membership lapsed. No worries. Calvin with 4 months says, I'm very sad with the Xbox news. No celebration here. I'm loyal to my account, not so much Xbox. If I could play the games I bought elsewhere, I would. Well, and that's the thing, Calvin. That's the real rub. JW says your vid yesterday summed it up perfectly. How is someone going to work knowing that the clock is potentially ticking? Yeah, 1,600 people are like coding with shaking hands. Like, it could be us next. I mean, did you guys see what they did to id Software? Are we even safe? Look what they did to id Software. That's the rub, Calvin. That's what so many of these folks don't realize is like the entire trajectory of the brand matters if you care about backwards compatibility. Why you cook them like that? Because they deserve it. I think they're pathetic individuals. I think they're jokes. They're not men. They're little boys. And I think they're gross. I think their existence is nasty. And I think they should know it. I think they should know that, like, mature people that, you know, work and provide for their families, we think very low of you. You only get approval in your little sniveling circle of weirdos. 100 bits from Wired Rope. You're so disingenuous and brain dead on life support, but the heart is still pumping. Off topic, but I do believe fighting for physical copies and digital rights can exist hand in hand. No, I don't think so. No. LRGI, 8-bit, East Asia Soft do take on physical games, including indies. It's a lost cause. The globe is moving on. It's not just Sony. If you knew some of the background pieces and parts that were moving here, you would know that it's a lost cause. Physical's a lost cause. It is. The people that make the lasers and the pieces and the parts for the Blu-ray players, the people that stamp the Blu-ray discs, they're shrinking every year. The actual production edifice is shrinking every year. It's done. It's done. The ship is sailing. It is. It's going out to sea. You're going to watch it go out to sea. I mean, it would be like watching a cruise ship take off from port and telling a bunch of people, if we go grab the ropes, we can stop it. No. All you're going to do is rope burn your hand. It's over. The literal global edifice that brings these things to being have moved on, but they still exist for now. For now. Homie, these things happen so fast. Life comes at you fast. It happened to VHS tapes. It happened to cassettes. It happened to Blockbuster. It's happening. That's why I said let other companies take on that. They won't be able to. They won't be able to. They will not be able to shoulder the cost required. They will absolutely get continued diminishment of sales because there is no edifice there anymore in like 10 years. It's going away. It's leaving. It's happening. You can listen, you can scream, you can yell, you can call it greed, call it whatever you like. It doesn't matter. The literal infrastructure around this is fading in front of us. Sony knows it because they're a significant player in the infrastructure. And they're like, we're getting out. We're getting out. I'm not telling you have to like it. I'm not saying it's good. Not defending it. I'm telling you how it is. People will repackage what I say and say I'm defending it because they're liars. They don't have integrity. They don't care about honesty. I've not once defended this. I've said I don't like it. I don't like when consumers lose options, but this is happening. It's you can't stop it. You can't. LRG, PlayAsia, they can do it? No. They won't be able to shoulder it. If a player like Sony is getting out, brother, there's absolutely no way they could shoulder the production costs, the raw material costs, and the shipping costs, the warehousing required. They would not be able to get to a scale where they could shoulder this. It's going away. It's just inevitable. I think more and more reports are going to come out. Other companies are going to, it's going to be clear, and you're going to be like, you are going to come back and say, you were right. This was unavoidable. Too many players are moving on. Too many companies are moving on. You can't stop it. Right now, Sony's taking the brunt of it because they're the ones that walked out and said it. I think they said it because they knew Xbox was going to be able to kind of take over the bad news cycle. I think they were playing an optics game. They were. Sony was 100% playing an optics game. But, buddy, I'm here to tell you, this is a done deal. There are too many players on the field that have already moved away from this. Have done it. They do that. Why else have they been doing physical games for years now? I'll tell you what. You keep your position and I'll keep mine. I think it's a done deal. I think everything's moving on and it's over. I'm tired of having this debate with people that are clinging to table scraps thinking they can make a Thanksgiving meal out of it. I think this is over. So you can have your position. I'll have mine. And in 5 years, I know where we're going to end up. I've been here before. You can see all of the markings and the moves and the pivots within the industry, and it's like, yeah, this is where things are going. And I just don't feel like continuing to debate it anymore. I'm not going to persuade you, and you're not going to persuade me. We're at a standstill. You've been respectful, and I appreciate that, but I don't want to spend more time on this. I don't think it's productive. We have so many people talking about it that are being very, very much driven by passion and emotion, which I appreciate and respect, but you know, hey, that game you guys told me to check out because I liked Adventures of Elliot, Crosscode, is coming to PlayStation Plus in July. I can try it there, I guess. I rolled credits on Adventures of Elliot after 15 hours. Fantastic game. Absolutely fantastic game. I felt like I was playing a Super Nintendo Zelda. It was just so fun. I loved it. And I could probably get another 15 to 20 hours out of it if I went around and cleared the map. I could. A $5 super chat from PWH Town. Entertainment as a whole is going direct to consumer. Why did everyone think gaming wouldn't follow suit? Get rid of the middleman. The last thing I'll tell you to do is look at the numbers. Look at the numbers that companies make off of a digital sale versus a physical sale because of all the splits that happen with the shipping and the retail and everything else. It's why AA studios and indie studios don't do physical copies because the split's terrible. And they can't afford it. The numbers aren't there for them. If that's bad for them at their scale, it gets even worse with the rising costs of raw materials, production, and shipping. The numbers in the calculus are getting worse day by day. It's one of the reasons indies and AAs don't do it. The numbers are bad. They're far better off going digital only. It's why there is an ocean of indie and AA games that are digital only. More and more games are coming out like that. More and more. And there's a reason. Because the calculus is not in their favor anymore. It hurts them. That's the hard, cold truth of it. And I know that nobody likes it. So, scream and yell all you want. You can brigade every Instagram post, every tweet. All you guys are doing is hurting other people at this point. You're just going to hurt other people that are trying to promote their games or trying to have their games come out and do well and get sales. And you're gonna seethe and maul and yell at the people that have nothing to do with this. It's an emergent property of the market. And all you're going to do is take it out on people that have nothing to do with it. Used physical games are cheaper than digital. I wasn't speaking to that. I was speaking to what the companies make when a game sells physical versus when a game sells digital. The numbers are terrible. You basically have to sell 2 physical copies to equal the money you get from 1 digital sale. Homie, that's terrible calculus in business. That's terrible, especially considering foot traffic in the retail stores continues to diminish. A $10 super chat from PlayStation 360. I normally don't get involved in this type of stuff, but you've had some of the biggest Xbox cappers on your show, and you offer no pushback. King David being one of the biggest cappers on the show. What do you mean? I had him on, and I gave him grief about the Xbox tax and how they're owned by the biggest company, so they're going to pay the biggest tax. People are going to expect greatness from them. What do you mean? I pushed back on a lot of what he said. And a lot of the times when he comes on this show, the 2 times he's come on this show, he'll put on his business hat and he'll start agreeing with me. He puts on his business hat and he starts agreeing with me. He puts on his, I got a spin and I got a console war hat. So he's admitting, why do I need to push back when he's admitting that he's just having fun and it's not serious? Like, there's no reason, there's nothing gained in that, in having him on as a guest and pushing back on his spin. Now, if I went on his show and he was in character and he was spinning, homie, I'd meet him at that level and I'd start pushing back and I'd debate him. When I have him on here, it's not like that. The entire demeanor is friendly, and he's a guest. And he's very, very open about the fact that he is actively spinning a lot of those topics. So why would I be like, yeah, but what you're saying is not right? Because he's just going to be like, yeah, I know. I'm just goofing around and having fun. The conversation would just get flat tired the entire time. I don't think some of you understand why I've been willing to have someone like King David on the show. It's because he admits it's all for fun. There's no malice in it. There isn't. Like, I say this as a friend of his at this point. If you want, like, an accurate coverage of this situation with the layoffs, I wouldn't watch him. He's going to spin it and be a goof. He's going to goof around, and he's going to console war. He's not trying to give you guys, like, a concrete breakdown of this. He's going to try and make this seem like Asha's going to let us soar by getting rid of all the dead weight, or whatever it is he's going to say. He's going to spin it. Doc Dark's going to do similar things. He's going to get into character. Okay? I'm not going to have people on the show that are out there with serious intention to mislead and to grift and to twist things and to make it seem, genuine. Are you freaking kidding me, Jaster? Dadgummit. Missing a killer right now. I'm sorry, boys. I'm going to have to be distracted for the next 10 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, boys. Just doing my part, you son of a gun. I'm sorry, boys. It's 2-1, and there's 7 minutes left to full time, and we have one of the world's greatest players maybe packing it up and going home. Retro gaming is about to blow up in 2028. I'll be here for it. I'll have more than enough games to play every day for the next 40 years, and I'll never run out of games to play. Listen, if you're going to have to adjust the way that you play, and you're going to have to adjust the games that you play, if that's your decision as a consumer, I think that that's totally fine. A lot of what I've been arguing is not that you shouldn't... Oh, you shouldn't do that! I wasn't saying that. Ooh! We got ourselves a Game Boy! Oh my gosh! He is inevitable. The GOAT. I told you guys. I said there's a lot of time left. Do not underestimate this man. He's going to activate. He's like a dadgum robot. I told you, I was like, sorry, boys, I got to pull it up. I got to pull this game up. We were here. We got to see it. The man himself ties it up with 6 minutes left. Jiminy Christmas. What a monster. I literally stopped talking. As soon as the ball gets close, I'm like, oh my gosh. Props to his teammate. Who is this? Number 4? This pass... Number 4 needs to be given just as much credit in the setup there. Jiminy Christmas. Wow. There were a lot of clips floating around of like Ronaldo's team just not giving him the ball. And like right there you see, that's immense trust from teammate. Number 4 is like, here comes the man, and gives it to him. He didn't try to like turn and take a shot. Jack Garland with a $5 super chat. While Lono is distracted, Obi-Wan wasn't that bad of a show, and Tom Bombadil's misunderstood. Shut the frick up, you idiot. And then Alapark with 36 months over there on Twitch. Well timed for that. I'm so glad Jazster put that in the Discord. He's like, I'm just doing my part. Whoo, wow. I don't have time to watch club play. It's really hard to watch club play as an American because like the timing is different. You know, the time zones and all of that. And then you got to subscribe to like the different services and stuff. Like usually I think it's like Fox or something. World Cup has been so great because I open up Peacock and it's right there. It's Telemundo. You get the best color commentary from the Spanish speaking guys. And it's just been spectacular to watch. My kiddos and I obviously didn't enjoy watching America last night. That was kind of tough. That was super unfortunate too because they came out second half and they had the momentum. I thought we were going to tie it. Like they had all the momentum. The goalie making that mistake completely took the wind out of the sails. The game ended right then. When he drug his foot, the game ended. Like genuinely felt bad for the team and felt bad for him because that was the end of the game. A simple mistake. Just accidentally drug his foot, and that was it. It wasn't on him. It wasn't just on him either. The defender kind of choked as well. False Ronaldo couldn't get the balls going his way. It was just a montage of like him being wide and people not giving him the ball. I don't think it was necessarily from the World Cup, but it was just like it was a pretty weird pattern. It was like many times, like just like why wouldn't you give him the ball? I don't know. No matter what, whether or not those were clips misrepresenting Ronaldo or whatever, that guy number 4 set up Messi. Like that was a great play. That was a fantastic play. Like to have that discipline and that control that close to the goal, to see what he saw and to set Lionel up like that is that's just remarkable poise under pressure. So sorry, show's getting a little disrupted right now because I mean this is a pretty significant game in the grand scheme of things. Number 4 is Montiel. I don't know a lot of the names because again I can't follow it. Like throughout the year, I just can't do it. It's just not easy for me to try to follow and watch soccer. While we're taking a bit of a breather here to see what happens in this game, I don't know how much extra time we're going to be facing 2.5 minutes from now. because we could be going to the 15-minute periods and then subsequent PKs if nobody gets the lead. While we're kind of doing that, make sure you guys are hitting the like button. Thank you so much. U.S. had a 5% chance of winning. I told people, I said, listen, celebrate their early wins because they're probably not going to go very far. The minute they end up facing a team at a higher level, they'll get exposed for their weak points. And our back line wasn't so hot for a while there in the game, and then the pressure started to come purely from the guys being able to keep it close, to keep the ball on their side of the field, which was excellent in the second half. But the goalie flub just deflated the entire team. So we love football in Europe, so yeah. I'm actually hoping that being the hosting country leads to a resurgence of like soccer, like being more popular in the States. I've been trying to tell, this is really, really dangerous for Egypt right here. I've been hoping for that because like my son's showing, good progress and getting better, and I'll be coaching him again this year. Thank you, Ala Park, for 47 months. Let me add it to the total 138. This is very, very dangerous. Co-host. Well, oh, right. You know what I mean. Wow. Nice read there by Mezzi to pass it back to the midfield. Has anyone mentioned Lono's shirt though? Peak. Yeah. I put on the oldie but a goodie today. The only soccer clips I've been seeing online as a not sports fan are of the Holland guy. Oh, he's spectacular. He's like a modern day Viking. That guy's a monster. He is a monster. Did you see the lead up to his one goal? He's just like kind of like slowly walking over. He sees his opportunity, moves really quickly, and then just there it is. He's a good player. Really good positioning here for Argentina. Nah, that was bad. Bad pass. Okay, they're maintaining. That was good positioning, though. You just got to get it centered at this point. Nope. Yeah. I've seen some of the edits making him into Majin Buu from Dragon Ball. Okay, this is dangerous. This is really dangerous. Egypt's got really, really good counterattack going. Good defense by Argentina. Holy crap. That was a really good press. Oh, someone needs to write a book on Phil Spencer's mismanagement of the Xbox business and how he oversaw a struggling business. The thing with Phil, like I try to have nuance with the Phil Spencer situation and the Xbox situation. Like I try to have nuance because like it's like handing somebody, a really, really bad hand in poker and like really, really down on chips. And his only course is to just try to dig out of the hole with more money. Do you know what I mean? Like he wasn't exactly dealt a good hand. And so what he did was what. Oof, that was scary. That was a really good center by Egypt. What he was dealt a crappy hand. So like, yeah, what he did was desperate and kind of wild and kind of crazy. What frustrated me with Phil is not admitting defeat and course correcting. That's what frustrated me. Like I misdiagnosed a lot of this. I thought the entire time that he was fighting with Satya, and I think what he was doing was, I think he was just being stubborn. He was being stubborn. I think he genuinely thought we can just keep going, put the pedal down, keep spending, and we can... Oh my gosh! Was no one offsides? Was no one offsides? That happened so slow it looked fake. It's like the goalie didn't even respond. It was like the goalie didn't even respond. It happened so... It looked slow. It looked so slow. Holy crap. Whew. That was such a good read. The guy in the wing read that so well. He was like, oh, I got a chance here. And he gets it all the way curved ahead of the defender for just a brilliant header. What are they doing? They're not reviewing it. Okay, nobody was offside, I guess. Show the replay. I hate when they take so much time on the replay. Like, they're just showing everybody talking. Thank you. Oh, they showed the Egypt center for some reason. Yeah. There's a replay on that. A guy got tripped in the box. That was a rough no call for Egypt. All right, so here's the center. Oh, he's totally on sides. Oh my gosh. That defender just choked. Number 2 just frickin' choked. He absolutely choked on that. He should have been monitoring the center way, way better. Yeah, the goalie didn't even react. The goalie just sits there. You're not going to tell us who scored? Argentina scored, sorry. Egypt's defender choked there. Choked. You can't watch the ball go all the way up the wing and not be locked to the guy in center. Because you know it's coming. You know it's coming. Goalie didn't even try. I don't think he thought... What's going on? One of the coaches just got a red card. Somebody on Egypt got a yellow? Man, you got to keep your head in the game. There's time left. What are they doing? They're falling apart. The dadgum coach got a red card. Brother, you got 3 to 4 minutes. What are you doing? That is an absolute... That's a failure for your team to do that. You have got to stay calm under pressure. There's time left, man. Head in the game. You're not going to argue the score off the board. What are you doing? Absolutely stupid. He's mad about the no call. The no call's tough, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It was super quick. It was the lightest touch on a toe, and the guy fell in the box. Like, it, you know what I mean? You're not going to get all those. To be fair, that was a blatant missed call. When you're counterattacking like that, though, it's hard. The ref's going to be behind. Like, he wasn't all the way down there yet. I mean, I don't know. It didn't seem that blatant to me. Yo, Denrock, thank you for 7 months. Three goals in 20 minutes. Yeah. I know that we've absolutely murdered this stream in viewership, but I kind of don't care. I kind of don't care. This was a game I was kind of bummed to not see. We should have just went live this morning and rearranged my schedule so that we wouldn't have had this interfering with today, because it's just such a big game. Good header there by Argentina, allowing the goalie to touch it. I just keep seeing yellow cards pop up at the bottom. How many people got carded? He already had possession of the ball. Oh, he already lost possession of the ball, not a foul. It did seem like it came after. But still, I mean, he straight up kicked him right on the toe and he fell down. If you don't care about football, get out of here. I was having a hard time not watching this game because it's Argentina. Too bad about USA last night. I was not very hopeful. And then when we got into the second half and we were dominating, I was like, we could make this work. Like, we had all of the pressure and all of the momentum. Oof. That hurts. That's probably game. That's a terrible yellow. That was a terrible yellow. Egypt didn't even do anything. That's probably game, though. Yeah. Egypt's coach is just, I mean, what are you doing? Egypt's coach. This is not the way to lose, bro. It's just a terrible way to lose. Sitting here arguing with the ref. You're for Norway all the way. Norway's a fun team to watch for sure. I'm amazed. I'm amazed these refs are able to stay calm underneath it. What the heck kind of a free kick was that? That was weird. He's carding the whole Egyptian team. Yeah, they're all going to go home with yellows. This seems on purpose, I guess. I guess Argentina's just kicking the ball way, way down, like, instead of trying to have any kind of possession in the mid. Maybe they're worried about, like, if they lose it. You should always support in England when you're friends. Come on, that whistle's got to get blown any minute. Lono Sports Channel on the way? No. This is just too big an event. Next week it'll all be over. We won't have any of these midweek games anymore messing with us. Because on Tuesdays, going live at noon, oh my gosh. 22's got really good positioning. You're going to get double teamed. What are you doing? Why are you dancing? I guess because he can. Dadgum. Oh, what a play. What a play. Tempers are running hot. He outplayed you. Get over it. Get over it. He outplayed you. 100 minutes in, that homie's got just great footwork and then kicks you with the ball so it goes out of bounds. Jiminy. Gonna be a quiet week. As soon as I looked at the schedule today, I told Creature, I was like, yeah, we, is that it? That's it. That's it. Well deserved. Absolutely well deserved. They fought. They fought like heck to turn that around. Wow. They fought like absolute monsters to turn that around. All right, well, back to the show here. If you guys haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. Let's try and turn this sucker around. People might start coming back to the show now that the game's over. We definitely drew attention to it in an intense face-off. Hang on one second. We have an intense face-off going on. Hang on one second. Okay. 2 goals in less than 6 minutes. Just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy what they were able to pull off, dude. Very, very impressive work. Very impressive work. You got to be careful. You got to be careful with teams like that. Anyway. Rigged for Argentina for sure. Oh, stop. Hey, Forge, I asked which of the gaming big three do you think dominated the first half of 2026? Which of the big three dominated the first half? I don't know. I mean, it's been a real mixed bag for me. I feel like Capcom dominated. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed Resident Evil 9 and Pragmata, and then I loved Sorrows. What were the big games from Xbox early this year? I can't really think of any. Because I know E-Day is coming and I'm excited about it. I'm actually more excited about Halo Campaign Evolved than I originally thought I was going to be. Yeah, I don't know if I would pick one of the big three and say whether or not, back to gaming news, the world's on fire, right? Yeah, Forza 6 was really good, but I also thought Sorrows was really good. So it's hard to pick one of the big three. I don't feel like Xbox, Nintendo, or PlayStation had a particularly strong first half of the year. They were fine. But I feel like the first half of the year kind of belongs to Capcom because they had both Pragmata and Resident Evil 9, which I think are spectacular Game of the Year frontrunners. And then Onimusha is not even out yet. And the Onimusha demo's out. I kind of count that. It's like Capcom's kind of having a great run right now. So Switch 2 has taken over. I don't really have a reason for the Switch 2 to take over. There is a game coming out this year exclusive to the Switch that I'm excited about. It's that co-op game called Orbitals that I think looks really, really good. And Haseo gifts a member and gets us a 10 bomb away from 150. We could turn things back around now that we're not distracted by the things going on in the World Cup. Doom has officially tweeted, Doom the Dark Ages Revelations 4 update includes a campaign expansion, DLC, Riptorium 3.0, quality of life changes, and bug fixes. So there you go. Capcom up for Publisher of the Year. Yeah, once Onimusha's out, my biggest concern about Onimusha is it's going to get really overshadowed. It's going to get really, really overshadowed because it's landing in that month. Now, they moved it back to be earlier, which I think is pretty cool that they were able to do that. So I think it is pretty cool that they did that. But I still think it's going to be. I still think September is going to be a tough month for them because I think that month in general is just absolutely stuffed. So I think it's probably going to have an effect on how well it sells, which I think will be, which again I think will be unfortunate because I think Onimusha looks really, really good. I really liked the demo. I enjoyed my time with it. Overshadowed by what? Everything else that comes out in September. Wolverine comes out like a week or two later. Control Resonant comes out. Silent Hill comes out. If you do early access on Ace Combat, you can play it in September. The month of September is just bonkers. They literally Onimusha was supposed to be on the 24th or something, and they moved it back to earlier to earlier in the month. So they clearly know that September is super, super packed. So that's my concern is usually a game comes out and then you'll have like a really strong weekend and opening week, and if it gets tons of praise and good reviews, it'll get more sales. And it's like that could get diminished because as the month goes on, other big titles are coming out. Wolverine is going to be one of the bigger distractions. So, yeah. Which is, again, I feel bad for Onimusha. I don't know if Onimusha is going to get as much attention and traction as Resident Evil, as well as Resident Evil and Pragmata did. Blood of Dawnwalker. That's right, Blood of Dawnwalker is also in September. I have a sneaking suspicion. I don't know. I feel like Blood of Dawnwalker is going to do a last-minute delay. I just have a feeling. I don't have any evidence. I don't have anything. Nothing. Nobody said anything. But that's. I feel like that's probably coming. That there is a significant potential that one gets bumped. Purely because it just looks like a game that might need a little bit more time. It looks ambitious. It's pretty big. I don't know. Blood of Dawnwalker just had previews. Did you see it? I'm assuming that they were fairly positive since you're bringing it up that way. So I'm assuming that's what it was. I mean, again, a preview of a game like that can still be a vertical slice that can obviously be very impressive. I just, again, my gut, I'm not saying anything bad about the game. My gut is, I look at the game and I'm like, yeah, that one could slip. Because they could just look at the calendar and be like, guys, why don't we take 5 more months on this? You know what I mean? I don't know. That is pure gut instinct. I don't have any inside information. I've not heard anything. I've not seen anything. That's just my gut. I look at titles. I look at where they are. I look at what they look like, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably one that it might not make it this year. It could slip. Any game right now that doesn't have a date could slip. There's a ton of games that are allegedly coming out 2026. Okay, so Shinobi's got a little preview of it here. I played 4 hours of Blood of Dawnwalker, and it's darn good, he says. My full thoughts below. The version we played was in beta and running on some powerful PCs. It was from the beginning of the game, so I wasn't able to explore the entire map. It felt pretty polished overall, but I didn't experience any bugs or performance issues during my time. The game takes place in this place. It's beautiful. There's a lot of neat history. It looks great visually, but I wouldn't say it blew me away. Environments look good. It's not pushing things on a technical level, but I found that perfectly okay. From the beginning of the game, there's a series of events that take place. At least in the initial hours, I found myself surprisingly growing attached pretty quickly. While there's an ominous metaphorical cloud that hangs over the valley, there are bits of lightheartedness thrown in. Character performances and voice acting are excellent. The story is set up in a way that each of the vampire leaders need to be taken down. When I compare it to something like The Witcher 3, movement and navigation of the game felt fairly fluid overall. Walking, sprinting, vaulting ledges were smooth. There's a bit of clunkiness when it comes to jumping, where I would sometimes start sliding down a hill or onto rocks. There's an ability that Cohen automatically gets after he becomes half vampire called Plane Shift. It lets him teleport, dash around the world so he can reach higher areas. It felt a little clunky and imprecise when scaling things like towers. There are plenty of points of interest. There's been a lot of questions about combat. I liked it more so than The Witcher 3. There are 2 ways to play, directional and traditional. With directional combat, you hold down a shoulder button to block while aiming in whatever direction you see an enemy attacking from. That's either up, down, left, or right. It's either that. It's simpler than something like Kingdom Come, and I got used to it real quick. It sometimes got a little overwhelming when multiple enemies are attacking at the same time, and they do that a lot. Enemies do not wait around for their turn, instead opting to gang up on you and take you down. There's also the traditional or standard combat, which is basically pressing a button that blocks enemies no matter what direction. You're like a standard action game. And you can also expectedly parry enemies that opens them up for more damage. There's a stamina meter that depletes with blocks, and it depletes faster if you're playing standard, though you can upgrade your stamina. Okay, so when you go to the standard version where you're not directionally blocking, it's going to eat your stamina faster. So there is a trade-off of doing the directional blocking. So it sounds like they've got it set up in a way where you are motivated to do the directional blocking. So you're motivated to play at the higher level. I think that's kind of cool. In terms of time progression, there's 8 time segments per day. Certain quests and activities can push time forward to a set amount of segments. This has definitely jumped up my most anticipated list for the rest of the year. It's practically The Witcher 3 Medieval Vampire Edition with its own flavor and unique mechanics, and honestly, it's something I'm quite happy about. So that was from Shinobi, 4 hours getting to play Blood of Dawnwalker. Seemingly very, very pleased with it. So another game to keep your eyes on. Now again, a preview getting good results is not necessarily indicative of anything. We know this. So Insider Gaming is going to have an interview with Troy Baker. The largest access granted releases on July 13th. Sign up for premium. So if you guys download the Insider Gaming app, which again, I don't get a kickback for promoting this. I just like the guys over there. You can download the Insider Gaming app. You can subscribe to their Premium Plus, and there's going to be an interview with Troy Baker in 6 days. That's also where you can watch the Lords After Dark. A post here from Daniel Camillo. I like to follow him. He gets really good news about stuff going on in China. He says, Xbox is dead. As a console, it's dead. The strategy, if any, has been made clear now. Scoped projects with long-term prospects, cross-platform and cross-playable. The focus on King and Mojang is assertive. Mainstream, mass-market IPs capable of global appeal. Transmedia potential across different demographics. Asha made it explicit when she wrote that more than half of the market's revenue, players, and growth are happening outside of our core markets, and that, quote, the model that got us here won't be the one that takes us forward. She also repeatedly mentioned China. This right here, this line here where she says, the model that got us here won't be the one that gets us forward, I think really, really drives home the notion that they're going to be making significant changes. I think Game Pass is going to get significantly changed. I think Day and Date is likely dead. And I know for those that have trouble with hearing and comprehension, I've never said that Game Pass will die. I've said that Game Pass will fundamentally change, and that Day and Date is likely coming to an end. And this is right here, I think, a pretty strong indication that Day and Date is likely under threat. If she's saying, look, the model that got us here is not the model that's going to get us to move forward, I would imagine that means that they're going to be going forward with a completely different model. That'd be my guess. So I would expect Day and Date to be fresh on that chopping block, and for Game Pass to get completely restructured. If you want Day and Date, then you're probably going to have to. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know if they'll even have it. If you have to really, really upgrade or pay premium or something more than you're paying now. He continues, a lot of the industry's real growth in the last 10 years has been fueled by Chinese publishers and devs, both internally in China and globally, with their disruptive paradigm-changing AAA free-to-play games that have been reshaping gamers' spending behavior and expectations towards premium games. See my pinned tweet. This is why I've continued to say that PlayStation's plan to break into China is significant. I think that is one that we likely won't see the results of for 5 years or more, but their push in China could be significant for them. The prioritization on studios like Mojang and King emphasize that focus exactly. The focus on those emerging and growing business models where resources and budgets are more flexible and easily scalable and manageable according to the quarterly demands and goals. It cannot be ignored. Even if core gamers and many pundits, I think he misspelled pundits there, will continue to dismiss it. Project Helix is irrelevant, whatever it may actually be. Another compromised PC-like device that nobody needed or asked for that won't fully appeal to either the console gamer or PC gamers or casuals. Niche appeal, residual sales, OEM partnerships, and yada, yada, yada if it actually materializes. I completely agree with what he's saying here. Helix is just kind of a non-starter at this point. I don't even know if they're going to bring it to the market at all. Like, if it comes to the market, I think it's going to be dramatically different than what everybody envisioned it will be. And I think it's just going to be a non-starter. I don't think it's going to move a lot of units at all. Microsoft would be wiser instead to reinvest and repurpose current Xbox hardware in order to prolong its life while hopefully reducing prices and continue to make its core of Game Pass growth, but I think that's unlikely to happen. Game Pass needs to cost $10 or it will never reach mass market or even grow as it needs to. In my opinion, times 100. We'll see. But remember, no matter what, companies like Microsoft operate based on numbers and results only. Quarterly goals, metrics, and performance is the determining guiding hand to whatever strategy may exist. Adjustments, reacting, more adjustments, and more reactive measures, that's the playbook. That's why I follow him. I think this guy's really, really sharp. Daniel Camillo, his name is backwards here. It's Daniel Alamak on Twitter. Very much worth a follow, in my opinion. He's a consultant, and he covers gaming as well as just, the topic of culture as well as industry and entertainment and technology in China specifically. He is well worth a follow. So, yeah. I think that I think that the way she's speaking and the way she's talking about these things, I don't think much of anything is safe. Whether it's Game Pass day and date, or whether it's the studios themselves or the games themselves, or future hardware plans, I think there's a reason that she said almost nothing about hardware. She said almost nothing about Game Pass. I think those commitments are... I don't think she wants to say anything about those things right now. I don't think she does. Because I think she's probably staring down the barrel of, executives and corporate level people, whether it's Satya or Amy Hood, that are like, that just can't continue. That's one of your greatest causes of losses over there on Xbox. So, just getting here, but one thing that caught me was the statement about the model of 14 layers of management was pretty big in itself. It made me feel like Xbox was getting played. It's always hard to know how something like that happens, like how infrastructurally and institutionally do you end up at a space where you have that many layers of decision making, that it's that absurd. Because hasn't anybody along that chain of command complained about that and said this needs to be streamlined, or were they ignored? Like, she just has such an enormous task ahead of her. Like, she doesn't just need to get the ship going in the right direction. She needs to create internal self-assessment and analyzation so that these things don't happen again. And I just don't think they're equipped to do that. I think that they're institutionally broken. And I don't know, like, how it went this long, this bad, because I don't think they have internal mechanisms of good feedback and criticism to be like, hey, that we have too many people along the way to make these decisions, or we can't make the decisions that we need to in the time that we need to make them. Why was this able to go for as long as it did? I really truly wonder. You really truly wonder how something like this continues for as long as it did. And now that you're fixing it, how do you ensure that it doesn't just happen again in 5 years, that you just end up with another situation of like, hey, yeah, we've once again found ourselves at a time where, no internal feedback or mechanisms were in place to ensure that we didn't make a bunch of crazy mistakes. Colin Moriarty, reacting to id Software, says, this is shocking and sad. It is arguably the strongest studio Xbox owns. The new Doom trilogy is exceptional. I love all these games. We are so lucky Microsoft never got its hands on Capcom, Sega, Square Enix, because they would have unapologetically destroyed them. Yeah, at this point, I think that's kind of the conclusion that I've come to, is that anybody that Xbox doesn't own is like breathing a sigh of relief, because all Xbox and Microsoft have managed to do is kill studios and harm them. They're so bad. They're so bad and destructive in this environment. I hope people really realize that. The people that want to defend and be fanatical about this and tribalistic about this, is you're defending a company that's just single-handedly destroying some of the most long-standing studios, some of the best studios out there, and you're not okay with it because of the results or because of any sort of empirical data. You're okay with it because it's part of some weird fight and identity that you've established for yourself. I don't know. And they say they wanted to buy Steam. I mean, one of Phil's white whales was Nintendo. He literally thought, I wonder how much of him saying that in that email was that an insight into, did he excuse me, did he have a very sort of almost delusional outlook on the industry? Did Microsoft's ability to spend money give him a very, very false sense of confidence? Did he buy into the same nonsense that he sold the developers underneath of him? That yeah, I mean, we've just got tons of money. We can do whatever we want. I get all the concern, but there's almost nothing that can get me to want to not play on my preferred hardware and software. It's not even Xbox the company for me, which means no other company can win. I know we've had this conversation before, and you don't make any sense to me as a gamer because you prize something that has nothing to do with the games. I've never liked PlayStation's interface. It has nothing to do with the games. It has nothing to do with how much I enjoyed Saros or Yote or Death Stranding 2 or how much I'm looking forward to Wolverine. Enjoying the software and the UI and the interface of Xbox, it just has nothing to do with any of the things that we've been talking about. It's the most superfluous part of gaming. The most meaningless, most superfluous part of gaming is the UI and the interfaces on the consoles themselves. You prize something that just doesn't factor into the gaming experience at all. It just doesn't. Unless you're consistently using the LFG on Xbox to find people to play with. I don't know. I mean, I'm getting a comment here that says, vertical slices commonly are only used when the game is greenlit, like a prototype. It's not only used in that way, though. We've spoken to people that have played previews and have said that they were basically playing a vertical slice. That's what a demo is. That's why companies don't like doing demos. That's why I like trials. The game trials on PlayStation, I think, are actually nice because you are basically interacting with the game for a certain amount of time, and the developer didn't have to spend extra time building that. But if they build a demo or they build a preview build, it very much can be referred to as a vertical slice. That terminology has more use of meanings than just early prototype. What's this here? That it's holy crap, you're back. I've been back on Twitch since April of last year, brother. Yeah. Good to see you. Yo, what's good, Al Pastor? It's Me JP is reacting to something here, and it just says, man. I have very distinct memories of having a demo of Halo 4 for Don Matrick and realizing that these people just live on different planes of reality. I was showing off my mission, and when the Mantis showed up with its new cool intro vignette, he raised his hand and said to the group, "Has anyone here played Diablo 3? He then went on to suggest we should copy their idea for a really money auction house for campaign mech skins, and every single human being around him reacted like this was an amazing, groundbreaking idea, while simultaneously realizing this was the stupidest crap imaginable since everyone with a brain had seen how hard that blew up in their face and the game was 90% done. But they still had to act like it was a good idea and make the pretense that they were making action items and crap. So yeah, game execs remain stupid, detached, money-grubbing idiots." Oh, golly. They will if they offer physical media and PlayStation doesn't. No, I don't think Xbox is going to continue offering any form of physical media either. I think they're headed towards digital as well, because Xbox is going to cut every way of spending. They're going to cut every way of spending they can, and I think physical is definitely one of those ways they're going to cut spending. They're 100% going to cut, also they're going to cut, creating disk drives and putting them into Xboxes. You know? Like, that's another expense that I just don't think they're going to shoulder. I do not think Xbox is going to play the advantage here and be like, we're going to keep physical alive. How are you going to do it if part of the infrastructure of making discs and making players, is basically stopping? It's consumer rights. Digital is just a rental service. You're really close to the actual solution. We need digital protection, and we don't have it. We don't have digital ownership rights. A significant portion of the games that come out every year are digital only because they're made by smaller studios. So if they're made by smaller studios and those studios are like, yeah, we got to go digital only because the numbers are not in our favor, then you have to ask yourself, when are we going to actually have better ownership protection on all those games that we buy that we don't have an option to buy physical? Like, the issue is not, everybody's focusing on the wrong thing. The issue is not that PlayStation said the quiet part out loud, that like, listen, physical's dying, we're not doing this anymore. The money's not there. Small studios, indie studios, AA studios have all started shipping their games digital only because it quite literally is the best way for them to bring their game to the market. It is. It's the best way for them to bring their game to the market. I bought countless indie and AA games where I had no other choice to buy the game. I had to buy it digital only on my PlayStation. I'm not saying Xbox will be the white knight. I'm saying if they do it and Sony doesn't, I'll switch back to Xbox. I was a 360 guy before they lost me. To me, you doing that would be wild because you're basically going to... Do you have a digital library at all with PlayStation? You're just going to abandon that library? I would imagine you've purchased digital games. I don't know if you've made it this entire gen without purchasing digital games. Why would you not want to protect that library and fight for ownership of that library? As opposed to just, well, I'm just going to go where there's physical. What difference does it make? If you buy a bunch of physical discs on the next generation of the Xbox, what are you going to do 10 years after that and when Xbox comes to the same conclusion that everybody else is coming to? That less companies are making the lasers for the disk drives, less companies are printing the Blu-rays, raw materials are more expensive, shipping's more expensive, production in general is more expensive. Like, physical, I think you would really, really be shooting yourself in the foot because you would be going to another platform that's going to come to the same conclusion. Game Pass is physical, Ono, don't worry. Yeah, I know. The Xbox guys trying to take a chunk out of Sony for this is amusing to me, as they've paraded around a service that is almost entirely digital. That is entirely digital. You can't interact with Game Pass any other way. It's a digital service. Like the centrality of your brand and the thing that you celebrated the most the last 6 years was a digital subscription service. Nostalgia Box doesn't do new IPs. I'm not sure who you're talking about. Digital is just like renting the game without guaranteeing consumer rights. You and I are in agreement that that's a fundamental problem that needs to be changed. Fighting for physical will not fix that problem. Because do you want to know what would happen? A lot of these guys don't realize this. I argued this yesterday. None of them will admit that this is true. If you browbeat Sony into going back on this, do you want to know what they'll do? They'll stop putting the game on the disc. Because that'll save them money. It'll save them money in production time. They'll just start shipping discs and the game won't even be on the dadgum disc. It'll just be it'll be a code, basically. So guess what happens when you do that? You're in the same boat as the guy that bought it digital. Welcome to not being protected as a consumer. And here's the other thing that's interesting about people that argue the way that you argue. You create this juxtaposition of digital's just a rental. Okay. So are you okay with the fact that the vast majority of games releasing from AA studios, indie studios, smaller development companies, they release digital? You're totally fine with those games not being owned? You're okay with consumers just being like, yeah, we don't get to own those? You create this juxtaposition that like digital's inferior when it makes up the majority of the game releases and sales every single year. It's like your own argument is conceding an enormous problem. And you think the solution is to fight for physical, a shrinking medium. It doesn't, the argument is 100% emotional. It's not a logical argument anymore. The dust has settled, everybody's yelled and screamed on Twitter, and people are perpetuating their view of it, and it is an emotional argument. It's not a logical argument any longer. Why not demand Sony keep making physical until we get protections? That doesn't serve any purpose at all. It doesn't. Because, again, if you demand that they keep making physical, which you can't demand that, by the way, but if you demand it of them, they're just going to cut costs another way, which would likely be you won't even get the full game on the disc. So you're going to get a mirage. They're going to hand you, it's going to be a fake, a phony. It's a fake Rolex. Like, it's not it wouldn't even be the real game. That's the first thing that they would do. If they capitulate to this public pressure on Twitter, which I'm telling you they're not going to do, they're not going to. If they did, that would probably be the way that they would do it. All right, fine, you bunch of babies. We'll give you physical. And it would literally be a disc with nothing on it. That's all it would be. On the Sony legal page, they say you don't own physical either. Yeah, you don't. You don't own physical. Placebo disc, I think, is a good way of doing it. I'm telling you, that's what they would do. That's what they would do. They're trying to cut costs. They'd be like, yeah, here's your physical, and the game wouldn't even be there. Sony's own data shows first-party titles sold more physical than digital. That's all old data, not that we don't even know if that's true now. People are using Insomniac leaks from like years ago to argue this. That is fundamentally old data, like by definition. That Insomniac leak, it does matter? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. The industry has shifted. You guys are, I'm telling you, you are clinging to table scraps, thinking you can make Thanksgiving dinner. It's oh, we got this leak from Insomniac, and most of those games you're saying are only digital sales weren't even available physical. People do not hear themselves. It's like, you don't hear what you're saying. You don't hear it. It's like, yes, most of the games that they're including in saying like how many games are sold digitally were only available digitally. Yep. Yeah. I think a lot of people are not realizing this move is going fast. Train's left the station. The train's left the station, and you guys are thinking you can use dental floss to pull it back. It's over. It's over. The number that came out that was extremely damning in this was the one CEO that gave us the numbers, where you basically have to sell 2 physical copies to get the same amount of profit you get from selling 1 digital copy. It's from Sony's own financial statement. Nib broke it down. Great. Doesn't matter. I like Nib's commitment, to lengthy posts and looking at the data. Doesn't matter. It's over. It's over. This would be like trying to finagle and argue the earnings of Blockbuster and like, they should have never closed. Everyone, please, the train is not moving. Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo are all moving this way. Spend your energy arguing for lawmakers to give you better protection. I'm just going to keep hammering away on that. Just going to keep hammering away on that. You are fighting for something that's already gone. The fact of the matter is, the reason that the small studios don't do physical releases is because the money's not in it for them. Now, scale that out to a big production, to a big game, having to sell 2 physical copies to equal the revenue and profit that they get from 1 digital sale. That calculus is terrible, and it gets even worse when freight, shipping, gas, raw materials, production, all of that's gone up in price. And let's not leave out the fact that the people making the disk drives, the lasers, printing the Blu-ray discs, there's less of those companies now, which means you're probably paying them more because they're more in demand. They're kind of like the last game in town. So I want you to think about that. Right now, the calculus is you have to sell 2 copies of a game digitally to equal the profit margin of 1 digital sale. That's about to get worse. That's about to get worse. If it gets to the point where you need to sell 2.5 to 3 physical discs for it to equal the profit margin of 1 digital sale, it's over. It's over. The numbers are bad. This is a fundamental business decision. That's all it is. There's nothing personal about it. There's nothing about this that's like, maybe we can save this, maybe we can fix this. No, it's over. The numbers are so squarely against us if you want physical. It's over. The fact that you need to sell multiple physical copies to equal the profit margin of 1 digital sale, that's it. It's the end. It's cooked. Because that's actually according to the old numbers. The new numbers are worse. Because gas is ridiculous. Raw materials are getting ridiculous. And they're sloping like that. So, 3 to 4 years from now, the calculus gets even worse. Think about right now. They're doing this in January of 2028, right? So that would mean in 2028... The calculus on this gets worse. You would need to sell even more physical copies to equal the profit margin on a digital sale. You have less logistics with digital games, but it's getting more expensive. How does that make sense for the consumer? That is tough for the consumer to understand because part of that's tied up in the fact that you have inflation causing the budgets to go up. So the cost of living for all those people living in Burbank working on Spider-Man 3, their salaries and, being competitive in the market and hiring people, they're having to pay people more. So the consumer doesn't see any of that. So you're not wrong to invoke that. Like, how in the world is a consumer supposed to understand this? You're going digital, and yet I'm still spending more than I used to in the past. As the Xbox layoffs axe half of id Software, one doomed dev has a scathing message for Microsoft and anyone celebrating and worshiping the cuts. We hope our pain was worth it. I'm going to read this because frick all you people celebrating this. You're LARPing frauds, and I hope you never play a game the rest of your life and take up a new hobby so we never have to listen to your stupid commentary ever again. This guy says, for your kind attention, we hope our pain was worth it. For my friends and followers who don't work in game development, celebrating and worshiping that the layoffs yesterday were necessary for change and the move in the right direction. January 2023, 10,000 people, 343 Industries, Bethesda, Game Studios, and the Coalition. January 2024, 1,900 people, Xbox, Activision, Blizzard, Blizzard Entertainment, ZeniMax Media. May 2024, studio closures, approximately 260 to 350 employees affected, no official number. Alpha Dog Games, Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, Roundhouse Studios, merged with ZeniMax Online. September of 2024, 650 people, Microsoft Gaming, Activision, Blizzard, and Xbox. July 2025, 9,000 people. The Initiative, closed. Halo Studios, Turn 10 Studios, Rare, ZeniMax Online, Undead Labs, Compulsion Games, King, Raven Software, Blizzard Entertainment, Activision Teams. July of 2026, 3,200 Xbox people total, 1,600 effective immediately, 1,600 phased. Bethesda Game Studios, id Software, ZeniMax Online, Obsidian Entertainment, Activision Blizzard, Compulsion Games, Double Fine, Ninja Theory, Undead. I sure hope the 6th round of layoffs is worth our pain and your pleasure. After all, things are going to be different this time around, right? All you LARPing gaming frauds out here, put that in your AstroTurfing Defense Force pipe and smoke it. Who posted that? An employee, gameplay animator, Sky Chow, is who said that. Doom the Dark Ages gameplay animator. I'm going to tweet it. Put this into your AstroTurfing Defense Force pipe and smoke it. Just seriously. Nothing would make me happier than for all these people to leave the space. They're so tiring, and it's so annoying having to listen to them and have them show up in tweets and comment sections. You guys are just insufferable. You're absolutely imposters. You're imposters. I wish you had a gunshot sound drop because that man just gave them some bars. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. What is this? Yeah, 6 times now? That's right. This is risky, but if talk isn't working, some physicality should be taken to make them budge. I don't know what you mean by physicality. Hilly says, I feel bad for the physical people. It's an annoying move, but Sony won't be alone. I moved to digital with Steam years ago, and 95% on Xbox. I do like a collector's edition from time to time, and that is likely going away, which is gutting. The folks with wall-to-wall collections are rightly furious. I understand your point that they are doing this and that digital ownership is a better fight. But if I was a disc collector, I would be red hot. Oh, for sure. That's why I've said two of the things that I would like to see PlayStation speak to is, number one, digital ownership. That needs to be spoken to. 100% needs to be spoken to. Okay? And number two, the other thing that needs to be spoken to is what the heck are people going to be doing with their collections? I think these are legitimate lines of inquiry. Like, what am I going to do with all this? Guys, make sure you guys are hitting the like button. Try to get us to 300 likes. If you guys forgot to go through your ritual today. So, Helix is a time bomb. What's John Linneman saying here? Hang on, I want to hear this clip. John Linneman's going to be pretty scathing when he finally gets on the mic about some of this stuff. He is not happy. That homie is ticked. That homie is mad. Let's see here.
Taking an axe to things, and these are cuts made by people that have no idea how these studios actually run and what they do. And I've talked to people about this, and like the word I have from people at these studios is that the cuts made don't make sense. They are not well thought out. They don't allow the studios to function correctly after the cuts. They are making stupid cuts. This is a pure numbers game from somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, and I think it's going to backfire.
There's one more.
That's super relevant to what I said today. The POV that I laid out today is that Xbox is killing studios without shuttering them. They don't know what the frick they're doing. They're just going in. Like, one of the reasons that they're targeting the really, really big veterans at these studios is they're a line item with a big salary. That's it. They are a line item with a big salary. That's why they're gone. This isn't about getting the studios to a place where they can flourish at all. They are absolutely killing these studios without shutting them down. id Software is dead. They are. Because of what he just said. These people don't even know what they're doing. They're just walking people out the door because they're a line item with a big salary.
More statistic within Asha's email there, which is kind of telling, which is that 80% of Xbox is the console business. And that's a problem, right? Because they've spent so much time and effort in expanding into PC. If 80% of your core business is console related, I can't see anything within this that is going to actually improve their stance in the console space. And they're still facing the upcoming time bomb with Project Helix, where every leak about that console suggests, and in fact Microsoft itself has officially said it's a premium experience, and the leaked specs suggest a premium a console. You know, I combine that with this. I don't understand how this reset is going to be able to change much. Seems to be that the audience for that particular console has been dwindling gen on gen. I mean, I don't understand what the future is. And this, you brought up the thing earlier, John, about 1 billion daily users for Xbox. There's 8 billion people in the world. The concept of one of every 8 people across the world interacting with Xbox on a daily basis is like, you know,
say it, Richard. It's delusional. It's absolutely delusional. The only people that talk like this are these executive level like weirdos that think that like you're going to get that level of market saturation, global market saturation, 1 in every 8 people. What are you even talking about? That's insanity. Like, that's not a reasonable level of market dominance. That's absurd. That's absolutely absurd.
It's kind of Emperor's New Clothes stuff, isn't it? It's kind of just patently ridiculous. What's the strategy there? I just don't get it. All of this stuff, it seems to be about sort of gaming the numbers as opposed to actually coming up with a sustainable strategy. I'm just kind of sort of shocked by it all.
Yeah, I mean, those of us that said this was coming aren't shocked. You know, unfortunately, I'm not shocked by any of this. I have said and screamed and ranted for years that this company is bad for gaming, and you don't want them to own all this property. You don't want them to have any of this stuff, because we literally said all this was going to happen. And the only comeback we have from the haters and the grifters that had a go at me for the last couple of years, their only comeback is, but Sony, though. I appreciate your concession that I was right all along and that you were not. The more people do that, the more people do the but Sony, though thing, they ignore the fact that I have 2 uploads about this and 2 live streams about this. I had to go at Sony about what Sony's doing. I had to go about Sony over Bluepoint. If that's your only comeback, you're literally passively conceding that you were wrong all along. Misleading your audiences, misleading the public, grifting, contorting things, and basically lying. And I was right the whole time. I was like, you don't want this company to own this property. They're terrible. They're corporate raiders. They take pleasure in killing things. If it's not making money, they take it behind the woodshed and they tell it to look at the pretty flowers. Yeah, Vice President of Xbox is gone. He was the one that helped build backwards compatibility. He's gone. I'm telling you, this is not a corporate restructuring. It's a retreat. They're just going to retreat to become a publisher, and they'll publish big games like Candy Crush, Minecraft, and Call of Duty, and that'll be about it. And you'll have nothing to be loyal to. And I don't celebrate that. But I think there's a sense of justice in which the people that celebrated this and cheered for this and astroturfed and defense forced and attacked me personally, and all you people that made this like a gross fight and acted like this was going to usher in the promised land, you deserve every square inch of where this brand is headed. You're about to get a brand that is equal to the way you talked about this, covered this, and handled the brand. It's going to be empty and vapid. I need a quick break. I'll be right back. Actually, wait. No, I'm done. We killed this stream anyway by watching the World Cup. If you're a member, head to the Discord for Green Room. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for all the support. It'll be a normal start time tomorrow. But yeah, I got to take a break, and we're done anyway. Make sure and hit the like button on the way out. If you're not a sub on Twitch or a member on YouTube, you can become a part of that right now for $5 and come to the Green Room.